right, welcome to the battlefield of Halle. I've removed the 3 reserve brigades for each army. They are off table right now. And this is what we get, which is quite a bunch. So this is Wellington versus Napoleon. Both have 2 CNC commands. Both have 2 reserve caissons that they can distribute to their corps commander, or sorry, divisional commanders, who for the Allies is the Earl of Uxbridge and General Picton, and for the French it's Marshal Soult and Marshal Ney, and both divisional, all 4 divisional commanders have their own 2 caissons to also utilize. I think I'd say it. If you haven't watched the earlier video that goes, you might want to go back and watch that. It basically has all the order of battle. It goes over terrain features. I tried to capture a lot. It also has a lot of microphone issues, which I've hopefully resolved with my new setup here. So that's what I've got, and we're going to get right into it because everything else is in another video. So that's very convenient. I might pick that up from Scott. And we will continue this battle, and there will be communications back and forth to the Battle of Nivelles going on down the road. And yeah, this should be awesome. All right. So this is GDA2, or General d'Armée 2 by David Brown. And Scott's using the same thing at Check Your Leader TV if you want to watch his. He's already released his, probably a couple parts of his battle, if not all of them, by the time I get this done. And yeah, so we'll start with CNC commands. Napoleon is attacking, so we'll go with him first. And we'll go, or be corps orders, sorry, is what it's called, and we'll go from there. I won't even lie. This is only it's my 4th game of General d'Armée 2, so I'm by no means an expert, and I'm also going to be rusty because I haven't played in a while. So bear with me. And I'll take all the help I can get. You guys are fantastic. All right, Napoleon doesn't do very well, as he's will have the red and the blue dice available. Both sides do have a corps adjutant where you can re-roll one of these corps order dice, but you can only do that on a number 1, not on the old number 2. Wellington will have the blue dice and the black dice available, and he'll get a chance to re-roll the white dice. The red die will not be available. Alright, he lucks out. It's everything but the red dice, which probably is the one he wanted to use, so... it'll be alright, guy. All 4 of the divisional commanders will all have 6 ADCs available. One of the great parts about GDA2 is, well, maybe I can't remember for GDA as well, but when the reserves are off table, you still get access to those ADCs, but you don't have to worry about them being hesitant, which is kind of nice. All right, we'll start off with the French. We'll roll Soult and Ney at the same time, and there'll be 6 ADCs each. Ney ends up with 5 ADCs. Soult kind of poops the bed and gets only 3. So, ooh, not so good. The Earl of Uxbridge gets 4 ADCs, while General Picton gets 5. Okay, French will assign ADCs, and we'll go from there. All right, going down the line for the French. Marshal Ney with General Campy in charge of 8th Brigade. They get the skirmishers tasking. He is a bold brigadier, so that's all he's going to get. For 2nd Brigade under General Grenier, he's here. He's going to get a skirmishers tasking and a reroll. And that ties up basically 4 of his ADCs right away. And then for his remaining ones, he's going to give them to General Jamin over 7th Brigade and give him a reroll with the Italians. They're going to move forward and engage the Russians. Soult didn't have a whole lot with his 3, so he's going to spend a caisson. He's going to do artillery assault with a reroll on General Domon for 13th Brigade, and they're going to fire their 12-pounders like there's no tomorrow straight ahead into the Prussians, because they just love them so very much. Going down the line for the Allies, 8th Brigade, General Pack gets a forwards tasking. He's a bold brigadier, so he needs no help beyond that. The next one for General Uxbridge is General Savinovich on 6th Brigade. The Russians will get a skirmishers tasking. So that'll be all of Uxbridge's commands, basically. He only had 3, right? Oh, he only had 3. So that's all he gets. And then moving down the line, we get von Steinmetz on 7th Brigade. He'll get a skirmish tasking. 12th Brigade, General Hawker will burn up 3 ADCs and a caisson, getting artillery assault for both batteries for the Corps Artillery Brigade with a reroll. And then the final tasking will go to Johnstone in 5th Brigade, where he will get a skirmish tasking as well. Both CNCs are going to spend their black Corps Order dice for forward commands. General Stedman will be the recipient for the Allies, 11th Brigade. He's got command of these line units right here. And then over for the French, we're going to give it to, I think, General Grenier, who also has a forwards tasking. So he's got all the things going on. So he's in command of, I think, 2nd Brigade of the French. Okay, we'll see which brigades are active, which are hesitant, and we'll go into the initiative phase. All right, we'll start off on the French left with Ney and his 5 brigades that are on table. Just as a reminder, if anyone's a bold brigadier or has a reroll ADC, I'm going to roll 2 dice at once for that. So here we go. Everybody's marked already. Everything for Ney is active. He's a boss. I didn't even roll enough dice for Houzon. He's a bold brigadier, so I should have done 2 for him. Let's go on over to Master Soult and his. I can't remember if he has 5 or 6 brigades. We have 2 hesitant brigades for General Soult. General Brew for 5th Brigade, and General Marconnet for 9th Brigade back here in the rear, with the Swiss and the new Bavarians. I almost said Bavarians. My bust. I believe there's that one thing called battle orders where I can remove 1 hesitant brigade in the first turn for the French, which will be on General Brew. All right, for the Earl of Uxbridge, all of his brigades are marked. He does have 1 bold brigadier, and also General Savinovich has a reroll. All right, General Picton's brigades are marked, and let's roll to see if they are active or hesitant. Everything he's got is active. I believe battle orders kicks in afterwards, so I think Napoleon will have 3 initiative dice because Soult had 2 hesitant brigades in his division. So Napoleon will roll 3 dice, Wellington will roll 2, and we'll do initiative for turn 1. Wellington absolutely stinks to join up. Loses initiative. Napoleon won with like a 5. All right, there we go. French have initiative. Turn 1 of the Battle of Halle. All right, no charges yet, which is cool. We'll go into movement phase for the French. All right, for the French, 8th Brigade, General Campy advanced 6 inches. Skirmishers advanced. General Grenier, he was the benefit of Napoleon's Corps order. They move forward 18 inches to the edge of the woods. Their skirmisher line has entered the trees over here on the western edge of the battlefield. The 9th Leger under Husson has remained where they are. Basically, that's been across the border, except for the Italians under General Jamin have thrown their skirmishers out in front. The rest of the center for Napoleon is held firm. And except over here on the eastern side of the battlefield, facing the pontoon bridge the French engineers built overnight, General Bru and General Mazarini's brigades have moved into attack column and have moved their skirmishers forward. So that's what's happening with the French. Boom. General Pack for the Allied 8th Brigade is under the impression that a good defense is a great offense. Advanced into the woods, got his skirmishers. They're within scrape and paint range with the French skirmishers in the woods as well. Russians moved out a little bit just to be in range. Did not want to impede their artillery lanes of fire. Didn't want to get in the way of that fun stuff. Also, the Austrians have sent their skirmishers out. Mostly the Allies have stayed static. What's this guy's name? Sorry. General Johnstone in 5th Brigade down here, sorry, has sent his skirmishers into the woods in front of Halle as well. General Adam has just also deployed his skirmishers to the edge of the river just to keep an eye on the French who are making moves they didn't expect. All right, that is the end of the movement phase. We don't have any tactical movement this turn, so we'll get into, I believe it's skirmish shooting now. And at 9 a.m. on the dot, Napoleon's guns open fire on Allied positions. Wellington immediately orders a fire against the French as skirmishers move out to meet each other and troops begin the advance on the French left. Oh, here we go, baby. The cotton balls are here. Okay, we're going to start off, we'll just go left from right. We'll start off with skirmish fire, and we'll start down here with Ney. All right, the skirmishers of 8th Brigade under General Campi, 4 skirmish bases. They do have the skirmish tasking, though. It's going to be some extra firepower. Firing into the trees against the Highland Brigade's skirmish line. All right, with the cover and the skirmish tasking, they're going to be throwing 6 dice, trying to shoot up the Highlanders. Not the best shooting there, as those gentlemen only are able to get 2 hits, causing 1 casualty on that skirmish line of General Pack's brigade. Moving on over into General Grenier's boys, they also have the skirmish tasking. I believe that'll be the same, 6 dice again. They're able to do 2 more hits on that skirmish line, removing 1 skirmish base, cutting them down to 3. All right. Over here in the center, the Italian skirmish line, 5 shots. Oh, they almost have the skirmish thing too. Sorry, 7 shots against the Russian skirmishers. They score 1 hit on those Russian skirmishers that look suspiciously like British riflemen, but they're playing Russians today. Good for them. That also will cause a discipline check on those gentlemen, so let's see how that goes. Russians aren't used to that kind of firepower, I guess. They're that long walk from Moscow. They are unformed. Oh, they're looking around for the Tsar. They're wishing they were with the rest of the army. They're feeling comfortable with these non-Russian guys. All right, and that might be it for skirmish fire from the French. We'll move on over to the British right. All right, the Highland Brigade now down to 3 bases, shooting 4 shots, but down to 3 because they're firing in cover. Ooh, yucky. only able to generate one skirmish hit, which doesn't cause a darn thing. Ugh. All right, going over to the Russian skirmishers. They've got 5 bases, but they are unformed and they have the skirmish tasking. All right, they'll drop down to 7 shots going against the Italians. Terrible shooting. No effect there. That will finish skirmish fire. We'll go on into artillery. 2nd Brigade's 8-pounders targeting those British guns, those 6-pounders at long range are going to fire an inferior blast against them. The Russian line units are 3 inches outside of effective range, so I think they have to pick the artillery at that point. Once they get into effective range, they can start blasting whoever they want. Does 1 casualty to 1st Brigades. There will be a chance for bounce through from that barrage and from the other onto the 84th. So I'm going to do their bounce through right now. 84th also suffers a casualty from that round. The 8-pounders from 7th Brigade are going to do the exact same thing and fire at that 1st Brigade's artillery on top of the hill, plus get bounced through onto the 84th. That round does a 2nd casualty to the 84th. They're not happy. They're going to get away from this artillery. The 8-pounders from 3rd Brigade are going to fire at the Russian and Austrian guns, the Russo-Austro guns, straight ahead, trying to knock out their 12-pounders. This will be a long-range shot. There is no bounce through. No effect there. The 11th Brigade, the Corps Artillery Brigade, which is an elite battery of Imperial Guard artillery, 12-pounders, with artillery assault. Both guns are going to unload straight ahead into those Prussians with the Austrians behind them, trying to do his maximum casualties. Prussians are just outside of effective range, which might save them a little bit. Here comes a whole lot of shooting. Second Battalion of a 7th Infantry Regiment, 2nd West Prussian, takes 3 casualties from that blast. 1 bounce through goes into the 3rd Battalion of the 34th Austrian Militia. They take 1. And woof. And they still have 1 more blast coming at them. 1st Brigade's 8-pounders are going to fire at the Corps Artillery Brigade on the right up on top of the hill. There will be bounce through because that 1 battalion is not on the reverse slope. They're kind of standing up on the ridge looking pretty. The portside battery of the Corps Artillery Brigade takes 1 casualty. They have to take a discipline check. Let's see if General Hawker can keep it together here. They are also an elite brigade, but they only need a 6 to pass, so they just laugh at that. They have no problem. They don't mind getting a couple guys blown away. Final French Brigade across the river fires in at these gentlemen of the 5th Brigade. Long-range shot. Bounce through will clip the Inniskilling, the 27th. Actually, it'd be more likely to hit the Austrian reservists, so let's go with that. Those gentlemen also take 1 casualty. No bounce through at all. Feel better that I didn't know who to put that on, to tell you the truth. And that ends the French artillery. Now the British guns are going to fire back. We'll start off with the 5th Brigade's 6-pounders, returning fire at that French artillery. Just shot them. There will be bounce through into that attack column directly behind them. French 8-pounders suffer a casualty. Move down the line for it's the Royal Horse Artillery Brigade back guns, on assault fire. They're going to try to core out the French Corps Artillery Brigade. Concentrate on the guns on their left. will be bounced through into that French line battalion directly behind those guns as well. And that'll be mission accomplished for the British as they do 4 casualties to the I guess the starboard battery of the Corps artillery brigade. They will no longer be able to assault fire. They also get bounced through, doing 1 casualty in the 2nd Battalion of the 36th. So yes, that's a moral victory right there against the French gunners. The Russo-Austro 12-pounders are going to fire at these guns of the 3rd Brigade, getting bounced through again into the 2nd Battalion of the 36. No effect there. Now we go up top to these guns here. They're going to fire at the exact same brigade with their 6-pounders. They're going to blast across the ridge at that same gentleman with bounce through into that same battalion. They will do 1 casualty to the gun, and then they will, look, the casualty dice flew out. We'll have to re-roll that real quick. Those guns will suffer 1 casualty, and then the 2nd Battalion of a 36 will suffer a 2nd casualty as they get hit by bounce through. And 4th Brigade's 8-pounders will fire, or 6-pounders will fire straight ahead into the Italians with bounce through. That's the only target they can see. The dreaded double 1 isn't so bad if you're not on artillery assault. They do take 1 fatigue casualty. The bounce through does nothing. And that's it. Alright, as first turn comes to a conclusion, move on to the clock will move forward. I think I gotta check what Scott's doing. I think it's every 30 minutes for each turn, but I'm gonna double check that so I don't screw it up. But yeah, looks like the French skirmishers got the most of the over the Allies, but the Allied guns might have slightly beaten out the French guns, even though there are more French guns on the field. Definitely did a number on the Imperial Guard artillery battery here on the right, getting those 4 casualties on them. Okay, see you in turn 2. That's awesome. Yeah, just so we stay on the same timeline, 30 minutes per turn. So we're moving on to 9:30 now on the old clock. All right, turn 2, time for core order dice. We'll start with Napoleon. No red die, but he can re-roll the white dice. Let's see if he can salvage that one with his core adjutant. Napoleon just rolling with the blue and the black dice. Oh, not so good, baby. Command and control issues. Let's see if the Duke of Boots has got more of his act together. He's going for it. Oh yeah, baby. He hits the lottery. He's fully armed and operational with all core orders available. Alright, time for ADC availability. Both divisional commanders rolling 6 die. Let's see what's up. Alright, both Soult and Ney have 5 ADCs available. Let's flip over to the other side of the battlefield and see how Uxbridge and Picton do. Alright, Picton ends up with 4, while the Earl of Uxbridge also has 5 ADCs to match the French commanders. Alright, Napoleon is going to give his forwards tasking from his core orders to Huzon. And the 9th Légier will roar forward an extra 12 inches. Meanwhile, Wellington will use his red die and give it to Picton. So both British divisional commanders will have 5 ADCs apiece. For the French, from going from left to right, from Ney down to Soult, General Campy is a bold brigadier with 8th Brigade. Going to get the skirmish tasking. Doesn't need a reroll because he's bold. General Grenier in 2nd Brigade. He will get a a reroll and also get the skirmish tasking. General Husson will benefit from Napoleon's Corps Order Forwards tasking. So boom, that should be, is that all 5 of theirs? 1, 2, 3. I think I'm short. Hang on, stand by. Oh yeah, I got 4 more down here. I'm like, duh. And then over here, General Jamin, I'm shooting the wrong thing, for 7th Brigade for Ney. With the Italians, we'll get the skirmish tasking with a reroll. That's all 5 of Ney's. Going over to Soult, we're going to get the assault fire again. We're going to use a caisson so that can overrule the no fire with the 4th. And both guns will shoot. So that's 3. And then 2 skirmish taskings. 1 for the 1st Brigade under Clouseau. And then 1 over here for General Brew in 5th Brigade with another skirmish tasking. So looking to lay down some fire into this area here and try to put away the British and Austrian-Prussian skirmishers out front. Going from right to left with the Allies, we've got General Pack. He's got a skirmish tasking with his 3 remaining skirmish bases. Going to try the forwards tasking again with the 11th Brigade under Stedman. Move up to support the Highlanders. General Savinovich with the Russian Brigade. Going to get a skirmish tasking with a reroll. That'll wrap up the Earl of Uxbridge's ADCs. Moving to the left, we'll get a for General Hawker with the Corps Artillery Brigade. He's going to get an assault fire with the caisson burned and a reroll. All the good things. So, boom. That's 3. And then the other 2 are going to be on von Steinmetz for a skirmish tasking with a reroll. And that'll get 5 for General Picton. All right, we'll start off down here on the right side with the Allies. The Earl of Uxbridge's division and his 5 brigades. I've already had the extra dice for the ADCs. General Pack goes hesitant, loses his skirmish tasking, and everyone else is active on this side. We'll go down the road to Picton. General Stewart goes hesitant in the back here, 2nd Brigade behind the hill. So they're not going anywhere. And but that's only 1 hesitant per division, so that's no effect on initiative for the Allies. Let's flip over to to Marshal Ney, excuse me, see what he can do. Marshal Peugeot of the 3rd Brigade, he becomes hesitant. Everyone else for the, he's the only guy that didn't have anything really to do. Everyone else for the, actually that might affect some artillery. I got to check that one. And everyone else is active. Just making sure. Actually, there is no 3rd Brigade. Yes, there is. There is a 3rd Brigade artillery piece right up here. So that could affect them. For Marshal Soult, his only reroll is on the artillery. And everyone else is just kind of doing the best they can. No bold brigadiers on this side. General Clouseau of 1st Brigade becomes hesitant, so he loses his skirmish tasking. Everybody else is good. Peugeot also has an artillery piece. He might have to fire at skirmishers or something. And boom. Okay. Initiative-wise, all 4 divisions have 1 hesitant brigade. So that's no effect. So it would be straight up roll. When I'm talking straight up roll, I'm talking straight up roll for initiative. The French will win any ties just because they won initiative last turn. Holy cow, and Napoleon's able to seize another CNC command. Oh, he's up to 3. That's nuts. Okay. I don't know if there's a top out on that, but I'm just going to go with it because Napoleon is, well, both these guys are awesome. So there is no cap for these gentlemen. They are just fantastic battlefield commanders. Neither side has charges to declare, so we will move to on-table movement. There won't be any tactical movement. No reserves are coming on this turn. The French have advanced. The Polish on the left have moved forward slightly. Send their skirmishers out to engage in the woods against the Highland units. They can actually fire on line units because the skirmish bases don't have enough to cover the entire brigade's frontage. So that's a bit of an issue. Also, General Grenier's 2nd Brigade is advanced at half speed into the trees, not taking any casualties. Just go forward like 3 inches. They're creeping up on the Highlanders. These guys, the 9th Léger, they're veteran, so they were able to change formation and move. So they changed formation into attack column, took advantage of Napoleon's forwards command, and moved up behind General Grenier. They're ready to go when needed, so that's beautiful. Italians move forward just 3 inches in line, just to get a bit more range on their skirmishers, get a little closer. They also have that skirmish tasking. These gentlemen all held firm across the back here, saving themselves for the end of the world. And then over here on the right, they started advancing towards the pontoon bridge, casting skirmishers across the bridge, and just generally making a nuisance of themselves. The Allies have to pay attention on this side as well now. Allies did not move very much at all. Besides, General Stedman used that forwards tasking that he had to move forward and back up the Highland Brigade on the right of the Allies, just trying to counter this massive push done by 3 brigades from Ney's division. And the rest of the Allied line is kind of holding firm. And that's it. All right, we'll get into, I believe skirmish fire is up next for the French. All right, with the skirmish tasking, these guys are going to gauge the Highland Brigade's skirmish line, try to blow them away. So we'll get 5 shots, plus 2, 7, minus 1 for cover, 6 shots at the Highland Brigades. Polish definitely has some issues with their rifles. That could be the worst skirmish shooting I've ever seen in my entire life. All right, the next skirmish tasking. The skirmish line from, oh gosh, which brigade is this? 2nd Brigade, General Grenier's guys. 4 bases, skirmish tasking. We're up to 7, back down to 6 again with the cover. French skirmishers must be in a carb coma. Too many croissants for breakfast. Not going well. All right, let's see if the Italians had something different. Maybe they had pasta. They're going to be in a carb coma too. They have a skirmish tasking. They're going to get they're going to get 7 shots at the Russians. Russian skirmish line suffers 1 casualty, still rather pathetic. And then we go to the other end of the battle line here, as the skirmishers from the 5th Brigade that just ran across the French pontoon bridge, they also have the skirmish tasking, so they're going to have 6 shots into cover against the British infantry, skirmishers in the woods. And the French redeemed themselves as they blow away an entire skirmish base with 3 shots, knocking those 60th Royal American skirmishers down to 3 bases. Skirmishers from the Highland Brigade will fire 3 shots back into the French voltigeurs. They put 1 casualty on that skirmish line, and then we move down the line to the Russian shooters. See what those guys can do. They do have the skirmish task, and they have 5 bases. There's going to be a ton of shots here. I think it's going to be 8 shots. They reformed during the movement phase. They held still. The The Russians straight up bring it. They're going to do a discipline check on the Italians, plus the Italians lose an entire skirmish base from that volley. And then also, I can't remember if these guys have a skirmish tasking. I don't think they do. Let me double check. No, they don't. They have 3 bases. That'll be 4 shots. They are British rifles, so they'll get an extra shot, but they're shooting into cover, so they lose 1 there. They inflict 1 casualty onto the brigade skirmish line for the 5th Brigade. Alright, let's move on to artillery. Start down here on the French left with 2nd Brigade. Got to pay attention to which brigades are hesitant here to make sure I don't shoot anything totally bizarre. The 2nd Brigade and the 7th Brigade's artillery, 8-pounders, are both going to try to even the odds for the Italian skirmishers and fire into the Russian skirmish line, try to eliminate them. The 2nd Brigade's artillery will be at effective range. Or will they both? Oh, they're both at effective range, but they're both going to go down to the inferior battery because they're firing at skirmishers. 10 does 1 casualty. That they already had 2, so they lose a base. They get a discipline check. I also forgot to do the discipline check on that skirmish line over there for the French, so we'll check both of these at the same time. Russian skirmishers pass their check. The French become unformed. Go ahead. The 1st Brigade is hesitant. Remember, I want to take care of them first for anything else. They're going to fire an inferior blast at the Prussian skirmish line. I wanted to get rid of that one just because I knew I'd screw it up. I'd forget it was hesitant. It could only fire at effective range. The only thing at range were those skirmishers, so I took care of that. If I read the rules right, you can use a caisson to overrule the can't fire assault fire thing, so that's taken care of. Solt is now out of caissons, but I'll go ahead and do it to the left here real quick and do 3rd Brigade's 8-pounders. They're going to fire an inferior blast across at the all these guns are going to fire at the leftmost battery of Wellington's Corps Artillery Brigade. Heck, I can probably shoot all 3 of these guns at once. Okay, so we're going to get assault fire from these 2 main guns and then regular fire from these guns. Lots of dice, really bolt action like. No bouncer as they pound this gun here, looking to do some damage. So this gun gets hit for 4 casualty. The 3rd Brigade's 8-pounders go low on ammo. Also suffer a fatigue casualty. They're up to 2 casualties now. The British guns on the French left there are up to 4 casualties compared to the other guns got 1. French have 1 more cannon left. Probably going to fire on the same gun with an inferior volley. They're up to 5 casualties now on that larboard battery. They are 1 away from being worn. French putting a number on those guys. Just trying to combine firepower. All right, returning fire, Allied artillery. 4th Brigade. They're 8-pounders, or 6-pounders, excuse me, just outside of effective range, firing at the Italians with bounce through. Good luck, gentlemen. No effect there. Moving down the line, we'll do the Russo-Austro 12-pounders. They are going to fire at that brigade gun right there that it's low on ammunition and try to put them out of their misery. Those guns are now low on ammo and have 3 casualties. The British... Actually, there's actually 1 more gun I forgot behind them. 1 second. I almost forgot about 1st Brigades here up on the hill. They'll shoot across and also go after those gentlemen there. They cut those guys some slack. They're actually they're like, give us a break, man. We're getting our butts kicked. All right, they luck out. No more damage to them. Now the brigade guns for the Royal Horse Artillery, just the Royal Artillery, are going to combo assault fire on the right gun. They're going to try to put that one into the hospital as well. The gun in the center from the brigade Corps Artillery. Both batteries will also have bounce through into that French line battalion right behind them. The port side battery of the brigade artillery corps battery. What is it? Start over. The port side guns of the Corps Artillery Brigade take 2 casualties. They kind of luck out there. Now these guns are at 4, 2, and 3. We've got one final British gun to shoot. They're going to fire directly across the river and try to blow these guys away with a long-range shot. A 10 is 1 casualty plus a discipline check on those gentlemen. See if they can keep it together. They pass their discipline check. They go up to 2 casualties. And that'll end the turn as I start picking up hesitant stuff while I'm walking here. The French, I don't know, it's kind of a neutral turn. There was kind of smatterings of good things happening and not so good things happening. I'm going to stop multitasking because I obviously can't film, talk, and pick up markers from the end of the turn very well. I can do it, but it's just not good. But I'm still trying to do it because I have no control of my body. And that'll end turn 2. We'll move on to 10 o'clock. It's about to get absolutely insane. We're going to call these the Death Woods in a minute. I think the skirmishers will be falling back as the lines engage each other in close-range musketry. It's going to be horrific in there. And it's just going to be more and more troops pouring in as the French are committing 3 brigades on the right. So far, Wellington's just trying to hold them off with 2. That could be a good move for them because I think Napoleon's crafty ploy is to try to pull them away from the center so he can drop the hammer later, but that hasn't happened yet. Okay. All right. We'll see you at the end for turn 3 for Corps orders momentarily. All right, time for turn 3, Corps orders. We'll start off with Napoleon, and we'll go over to Wellington after that. Napoleon ends up with the everything but the black die, so that's him. Let's see what Wellington can do. Wellington's only able to get the black and red die to cooperate this turn. All right, we'll go on to ADC's availability, starting off with the French. All right, Ney is able to get 4 ADCs while Soult gets 5. We'll go over here to Pixton and Uxbridge, see how they can do. They both do identical. Uxbridge and Ney both get 4, while Picton and Soult both have 5. I believe, let me just figure out, I know Wellington's going to give a red ADC dice off his Corps orders to Uxbridge for him to become, to have 5 ADCs. Napoleon do the same thing and give Ney his red order die, also getting him up to 5 ADCs. For the Allied ADCs, we get Stedman gets a reroll over here with 11th Brigade behind the Highland Brigade. We get a reroll with Mitchell in the 4th Brigade. We get a reroll with Halkett in the 1st Brigade. Semenovich in the 6th Brigade gets a reroll plus the skirmishers tasking. Sliding down to the left, Wellington is going to give a caisson to Picton, who is going to do another artillery assault here with Hawker's Brigade, which takes up 3 ADCs, and the last 2 are going to come over here to Johnstone's Brigade in front of Halle as he does the skirmisher tasking plus a reroll. For the French, General Campy, who's a bold brigadier, will get skirmishers. General Grenier and his boys going into the woods will get a skirmish tasking plus a reroll. Sliding down here, General Jamin and his Italians will get a skirmisher plus a reroll. Marshal Ney will use a caisson to remove the low artillery on the Italian 8-pounders. Napoleon will give Soult a caisson, and he will order General Domon to do artillery assault again with a reroll. And then for the final 2 ADCs, down here with General Brou and the pontoon bridge, he will get a skirmisher tasking and a reroll for 5th Brigade. Alright, down here on the Allied right, the Earl of Uxbridge has spread his ADCs quite well. We'll roll for units readiness or not. Most of these units will get 2 die now that there's ADCs all over the place. Alright, all of the Earl of Uxbridge's brigades are active. That's what I like to see. We'll go down here to Picton, see how he's doing, baby. Things are a little tighter down here because artillery assault is kind of expensive, costing 3 of Picton's ADCs. He has an ADC reroll, and so does Johnstone here in front of Hal. But the Allied commanders pull it out like a boss. Everything is active for turn 3. Alright, their tea is kicking in. They're ready to kick some French, Italian, Bavarian, and Polish butt. Alright, let's switch over to Ney, see how he's doing. Houzon, command of the 9th Léger, 4th Brigade, has some concerns, flips over to hesitant for this turn. He's sending a dispatch back to Napoleon to ask, you want me to really do that? What? What's going on? No shooting for those guys? Well, there's no shooting anyway, but they're hesitant. Soult's in the same boat as Picton, as he's got artillery assault going, sucking up a good 60% of his ADCs. Alright, see how his brigade commanders feel about it. General Marconnet spilled his wine across his orders. Even though he's standing within earshot of Napoleon, he does not know what to do. Goes hesitant this turn with the Swiss and the Bavarians. Probably a language barrier, but we'll see. Everything else over here is active. The French have 1 hesitant brigade per division, which does not affect initiative, so initiative will be straight up with the French winning any ties. With everything clicking over on the Allied lines and all the brigades being active, Wellington just is able to seize the initiative from Napoleon. There won't be any charges, a little bit too far away, but we'll go right into movement phase. No reserves coming in this turn, so boom, we'll do on-table movement. The only movement for the Allies is the Pax Highland Brigade steps forward, displacing the skirmishers of the French in the woods, who will get the fire on their way out. They're too close for skirmish fire here. They've strode right up to him. I think Pack felt like he was losing the skirmish battle in here, and he wanted to get his superior musketry into close range to, basically give him the advantage. Stedman's brigade moved up with Pack, and they're supporting them in the rear. And the fight in the woods is about to go Insano style. I'll have to remember the French skirmishers were on the skirmish tasking. They will get to fire as they fall back. So that might work out, actually. For the forces under Napoleon, General Campy starts to wheel to the left to try to take advantage of Pack's exposed flank. I have to relocate some of my command dials and tokens to get out of the way. Campy, ruining my day. Grenier's going to hold steady and engage the Highlanders. Hopefully his skirmish line will do some good shooting before they fall back. Who's on? Held still. Over here, oh, I don't know if I can. Oh, it is actually. That's 2nd and 7th Artillery Brigade. That actually works out well. They both advanced to keep pace with the 7th Brigade with the Italians. So the guns are advancing along with the infantry at a slow pace here. Also, Peugeot's ultra-large brigade of 5 infantry battalions advances behind the Italians. On the right, Solt's holding firm. He's just going to let his skirmishers do the work here while Ney begins to try to make room for the rest of the army on the left side of his line. All right, we'll start off with skirmish fire. I think for the British, there's nothing down here now. The pack has voluntarily withdrawn his skirmishers. They fall back. The Russians will fire at the Italians. I think they have the skirmish tasking too. 1 second. Yes, Savinovich will get 7 shots firing at the 3 remaining Italian skirmish bases. Oh, the Russian skirmishers choke under the pressure. Not too good. The Prussian skirmishers can't really go out much farther. They're still not in range. The French have not moved. So they're just kind of sitting out in the field screening. But we have 3 bases of British rifles in these woods from, which brigade is this? Johnstone's 5th Brigade with the skirmish tasking. With the trees involved, they will get 6 shots. My dice remain smoking hot as they fire and do nothing to the French skirmishers. I think that ends Allied skirmish fire. We'll now go over to the French. As they withdraw, Grenier's 4 bases of skirmishers will fire at Gordon's Highlanders. They have so they'll get 5, 7. They'll get 6 shots with the skirmish tasking in the cover of the trees. The Highlander Brigade suffers 1 casualty from those skirmishers as they fall back away from them. We'll also get the skirmishers over here of the Polish firing into the Black Watch, also on the skirmish tasking. So they'll get 6 shots as well. Alright, the Black Watch also suffers 1 casualty from that skirmish fire. Next up, the 3 Italian bases with skirmish fire as well. So they will get 6 shots at the Russians. The Italians are able to put 2 casualties onto the Russian skirmishers, also forcing a discipline check on those guys. Oh, which they fail and become unformed. These French voltigeurs, they did not move, so they lost their unformed. They have the skirmish tasking. They're firing into the woods. Another 6-shot volley against the British rifles in the trees. They put 2 casualties onto those British skirmishers in the woods. All right, that'll end skirmish firing for this turn. That's I think the French got the little bit of the edge there, but as we go into artillery, we'll see what this continues. Plus, we'll get our first turn of volley fire as the French and the Scottish slug it out in the trees. All right, starting over here with the 4th Brigade, they don't quite have a shot onto the artillery yet. They're going to fire at the Italians as they march forward with bounce through. I think we're getting to effective range now. Just got to measure it real quick. It's blast from these 6-pounders at the Italians will be at effective range with bounce through. British guns definitely miss an opportunity there as they put 1 casualty on the 2nd Battalion, 4th Infantry for the Italian brigade under Yamin. Halkett's guns of, which brigade is this? A 1st Brigade. On this elevated position are going to fire across at the right-sided gun of the Daumont Corps Artillery Brigade. The Russo-Austrian guns will also join in this fire. It's too close to fire for them at the Italians with their own skirmish line out in front. So they're going to fire on that rightmost gun. Let me check to see. There will be no. They're on the reverse slope, the infantry, so there'll be no bounce through there. That's a negative. They're actually on the same elevation. So my fault. There will be bounce through into the 2nd Battalion, 36th. Domon's portside battery of its 11th Brigade takes 2 more casualties. It must take a discipline check. They are Imperial Guard, so this will be at 6 or more. Oh boy, that battery goes unformed on the left. That's good job. Good shooting. We're not even done yet. More British guns to follow. Hawker's guns of the 12th Brigade will both combo fire on the other battery of the Imperial Guard on the left there, trying to put that one under too. They do have artillery assault, so this will be brutal, and there will be bounce through into that French line unit behind it. Oh, Damon's artillery takes a pounding. Now we've got an unformed battery on the left, a spent battery on the right, 4 casualties on 2nd Battalion of the 36th. Oh, they're going to be firing like a inferior volley, whatever it's called, inferior cannonade, or who knows. I'm getting my rule system screwed up. They just got hammered. We still got 1 more gun to go. British artillery battery is going to fire against 1st Brigade's artillery with bounce through into the same 36th again, 2nd Battalion of the 36th. No effect on the French guns, but they do put another casualty, raising the 2nd Battalion of the 36th to 5 casualties now. Oh, guilty by association. They're just getting pounded with cannonballs, not even aimed at them. Alright, for the French guns, the 2nd Brigade and 7th Brigade's 8-pounders both advanced, so they're not firing. Now we get into the broken down center of the French. Yuck. We got to take out the British guns best we can here. So everything is going to these 4 guns are all going to fire on that battery on the left. There will be bounce through into the 1st Battalion of the 9th from Norfolk on all these shots. Holy smokes, for diminished fire, they brought it. Those 4 guns, actually those 4 batteries, combo fire, did 10 casualties to the 12th Brigade's portside battery. They're up to 11. They're an elite battery, so they go up to 12. They got to take a discipline check. 3 bounce throughs go through into the 1st Battalion, 9th. They also get wailed on. The French will have 1 gun left that'll fire from over there on the left to try to take out this gun and finish it, faltering the brigade. See if these gentlemen can pass a discipline check after that complete and utter annihilation. They will drop down 1 because they're overworn. Alright, they pass. Way to go, baby. Last French gun, Sea and Blood, fires an inferior 8th pound blast at the same battery. And a roll of 7 will get it done, destroying that battery, faltering that brigade. Although they paid a heavy price, the French Grand Battery finally able to have an impact as they blow away one of Hawker's batteries. Now we go on into volley fire. Oh, here we go into the woods of death as the Highlanders go up against the 4 battalions of the 70th. All right, we'll start off with the Black Watch unloading into who are they shooting up against? 2nd Battalion, I think it is. Okay, in the trees, getting crazy. Boom. All right, I can probably do both of these at the same time. The Black Watch and the Gordon Highlanders are both going to fire at the French line battalions in front of them. They are going to be inferior, what are they called? The inferior volleys, because they're in the woods. But the Scottish will get 1 CD extra for being drilled infantry in line. So here we go, firing into the Black Watch laid down a thunderous volley against the 2nd Battalion of the 70th, causing 2 casualties and a discipline check. The Gordon Highlanders were able to just also do 2 casualties, one with the extra fire dice they got. So they both of those French line battalions take 2 casualties, who will now return fire. French musketry not quite as good as the Scottish. They're only able to do 1 casualty on the Gordon Highlanders. This battalion completely misses up and just shoots the trees. Probably takes out a couple squirrels. And that'll end turn 3 as the this is starting to heat up over here. Artillery battle is absolutely insane. The whole thing's insane. I love this stuff. We'll just do a little Reaper drone footage around the battlefield. French, as you can see, are pushing over there. Allies kind of... both sides are making room on the right for reinforcements, basically. We're kind of static over here. Trying to see who's going to win the skirmish battle and the artillery duel, which will dictate what happens next. The King's German Legion are eating all of the food in Halle. By the time this battle's over, there's going to be nothing left. So bad. Too bad, so sad. And these French on the right are just kind of trying to keep the KGL pinned. General Brew is trying to decide if he wants to cross that pontoon bridge or not, but he's going to have to wait for the right time. And boom, that's what we got going on. Napoleon's holding the center. His Imperial Guard battery is beat down as he begins his attack on his left, moving up his guns to support the Italians against the Russians. They're going to get some payback for Moscow. All right, there we go. All right, we will see you in turn 4 at 10:30. All right, time for the next turn. Let's do some core orders for Napoleon and Wellington. Wellington won last time, so let's initiative at least. So let's go ahead and let's have him roll his core orders first. Well, that was absolutely terrible. He's going to use the corps adjutant to at least roll the black die over. So he's got the red die and the black die available. Let's go on to Napoleon. Napoleon continues to struggle with his core order dice. He's going to have to just put up with the red and the white dice, see what happens. Wellington might have a bit harder of a time because he does have a faltering brigade. Okay, let's get into it. The clock is striking 10:30. It's time to do some killing. ADC availability time for the Allies. Let's see what they got. We'll do Picton and the Earl of Uxbridge at the same time. They both end up with 5 ADCs, as now it's time for the French to see what they can do. Ney and Soult. Come on, baby. Do something good. I'm not sure what happened with Ney on that one. He completely he jacked it up totally. Napoleon's looking at him going, I should have had you executed. Okay, Soult gets 4, Ney gets 1. That's not good. We're going to have to break out a C&C command here and try to do something with this nightmare. All right, Napoleon rides over and joins Grenier's brigade on the attack in the woods on the western side of the battlefield. He can't believe Ney is a moron. He just rode right past him, ignoring him. He takes command himself, using his one chief of staff. He's down to 2 C&C orders. He gets 2 extra ADCs automatically, so I just gave him 2 more red dice, and now he's going to reroll all the failed dice across the entire command, which will be 2 for Soult and 5 for Ney. So now, and he also gives his red core order dice to Ney, so now we've got 8 ADCs for Ney. The one chief of staff for the battle has been used as Napoleon basically supersedes Ney's command for the moment. And yeah. And then Soult is up to 5 ADCs. Alright, for the Earl of Uxbridge, he's going to do artillery assault on the 4th Brigade artillery pieces over here in the woods, try to slow down the Italians as they push forward. Also going to do a re-roll and skirmishers with Savinovich. So that basically gets you to 5 right there. Let's make 2, 3, yeah, 4, 5. So he's done over there. Going, just letting Pack do his thing because he's a bold brigadier in the woods. So that's the Earl of Uxbridge. Wellington gave his extra die over here to General Picton, who puts 1 re-roll in for the Faltering Brigade, which is General Hawker's, just in case they implode with the brigade artillery. He also places thinks he's going to lose the artillery battle here against the Grand Battery, so going to try to put pressure onto the French line by having General Savinovich advance the Prussians and Austrians across the battlefield, bringing their skirmishers in range since the French have not been willing to do so. So they have a forwards tasking and a reroll. And then finally over here on the right we have a skirmishers and a reroll on Johnstone's 5th Brigade with his riflemen acting, in a shootout with the French in these woods over here by the river in front of Halle. For the French, let me go to this side of the table. We'll do a little flyby just so you can just check out the world while I'm going around, because it's pretty damn cool. It's Napoleonics. All right. No big investments over here on the extreme right by Soult. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, sorry. General Brew gets the skirmishers and a re-roll over here for his skirmishers up there in the woods. He's going to do artillery assault, but not with the main battery because they're beat down with 4 and 6. Wants to save a caisson for later. I think he's got 1 left, and Ney has 1 left. So 1st Brigade's artillery battery of 8-pounders is going to fire straight ahead at the Prussians, try to put some hurting onto those gentlemen, or take out an artillery piece if it's still there. Depends on what happens. So that's the 5 for General Soult on the French right. On the left, General Jamin has been given the order to move forward and to start engaging the Russians, especially now that his artillery is advanced. So between these 2 French batteries, he's going to go forward and try to mix it up with the Russians. Never a good idea, but at least it's not snowing, so might work out well. General Ney stays in confusion back here eating applesauce. And then all the points on General Grenier as he hits a re-roll, an infantry assault, and glory. Going in against General Pack in the woods, it's going to be the Thrilla in Manila, and they're going to slaughter each other in there. I don't know who's going to win, but Napoleon is over there doing good things. So, all right, that's the end of the ADC placement phase. Let's see who actually is active. Let's see if anything actually works. We'll go first with Ney, and then we'll do Soult, and then go over to the Allies. Although Ney struggled this turn, his brigade commanders are in fuego, especially with the Emperor riding amongst them. All right, over here, it's time for Soult. What can he do? Oh, sweet. Soult is just as good as Marshal Ney, and this time the French are completely clicking. All right, let's go over to the Allies. We'll start off with Uxbridge on the right. General Halkett and 1st Brigade in the rear. Rear with the gear, they go hesitant. Their artillery might not be able to reach too much after that. Picton, this is big. Faltering Brigade as well with a reroll. Everything's active. Hawker is able to rally, but he is hesitant this turn, so his guns won't be firing to long range either. And that's it. So it's going to be an even morale check. No one's got more than one faltering brigade in their division. And let's see what happens with that. Despite all the heroics by Napoleon, Wellington able to hold on to the morale. Onto the initiative. Well, maybe the morale as well. We'll see. All right, charges. The Scots were planning on just kind of firing their guns and just getting serious, so they weren't going to charge. Unfortunately, maybe fortunately, we'll see. Grenier is going all in, super psycho style. He will charge against the Highland Brigade. All right, the charge is going to occur here with the 1st Battalion of the 70th hitting the Gordon Highlanders. They both have 2 casualties. We'll get supports from the 2nd and the Black Watch from the left and right, and then, of course, I think it's the 79th back here will support, and also the 3rd Battalion will support. So each side will have 2 supports. The French have Glory, but they are they're a line unit versus a grenadier unit. So we got some things to work out, which I'm kind of excited about. It'll be my first charge in a while. So we'll get a charge reaction. I think it'll just the Highlander support units are going to basically not fire. They're going to use their dice for rerolls. And I think the one unit does get to shoot those. They come on in. So these guys are fighting amongst the trees. So there'll still be a downgrade for that. Because, there's not a little clearing there where they're standing. These guys they're formed up around the trees. They're coming, there's smoke everywhere. They're running in. So that will affect the, I think it'll decrease the Gordon Highlanders volley down to an inferior volley, but they will get the extra +1 combat die because they are drilled. They are able to inflict 2 casualties onto the French. They're up to 4 now, which they're not at 6. They didn't take 3, so those have been the big things that the British or the Scottish would have liked to have seen. So, boom! Here comes the charge with 2 supports each. They're going to be equal because as I said before, the Highlanders are Grenadier, but the French have Glory. All right now the French have a 4 and a 1, and the British have a 5 and a 1. French will go first because they're losing. They will re-roll their 1. All right, now the French are up to 7. Scottish are at 6. Scottish can re-roll their 1 with their first re-roll. Oh, it's horrible. The Black Watch goes in and they stumble into some trees and don't get there in time to support. It's turning into a nightmare. All right, right behind the 91st, the Argyllshire Highlanders. They're going to go in and try to support as well, trying to beat that 1. Oh, the 91st, they had their Wheaties. They raised it up to 10 to 7. All right, so that means the 3rd Battalion has got to come in to try to support the attack. And they muff it up. They get lost in the trees, can't find the combat, end up charging into their own guys and falling down. It's a nightmare. Everybody's tripping over their backpacks. The Highlanders are going to win by 4. Oh! All right, 1st Battalion of the 70th withdraws. Goes behind the 9th Léger. It unforms 3rd Battalion of the same regiment as it goes through them. I think they would have been unformed anyway by the loss. And then all 3 of these battalions take 1 CD casualty. Which ends up being no further casualties for those units as they're pushed back. Napoleon's first attack against Pack's brigade, no bueno. All right, now we go on to movement. Most of the Allied line, those guys can't do anything in movement, is going to remain rather static, except for Savanovich's Austro-Prussian brigade, who Wellington is tasked to go forward and take pressure off his artillery. So let's see what happens here, baby. They got a forwards command. General von Steinmetz advances with his 5 brigades, supported by General Stewart, also moving forward with his 5 battalions each. 10 battalions of Allied troops advance across the center towards the French Grand Battery, trying to take some pressure off the center, make room for the hopeful reinforcements that will come to support the Allies at Halle. Alright, that's the only movement for the Allies. Now it's time for the French and their allies. The Italians also have a forwards tasking. So at the end of the movement phase, things are getting a little bit cuckoo in the center, and on the coming in from the right of the French right too. The Italians have streamed forward. Supporting them, General Peugeot has brought up the 3rd Brigade, just keeping them in contact with the Italians. The Prussian Austro Brigade under von Steinmetz moves forwards towards the line. And then in a surprise move, General Brou has started to cross the river to threaten the left of the the Austrians and Prussians. That's a little bit of a what? And still no movement out of the the 2 center brigades for Napoleon. Still holding them. Gonna see what his artillery could do to the Prussians and the Austrians. Pretty tough nut to crack, but we'll see. The same thing's gonna happen to the Italians. They're gonna walk right into cannons themselves. Both sides have skirmishers out front, but I don't know how well that's going to do against cannonballs. Okay, now we go into skirmish fire as movement comes to an end. First Allied skirmish fire are the Russians. They have 4 skirmish bases, firing at the Italians. Skirmishers, trying to put them into the ground. They have the skirmish tasking too, I believe. They do. All right, so that's 7 shots. All right, the Italians have to make a discipline check after taking 2 casualties from that pretty awesome barrage from the Russian skirmishers. I can't pass this discipline check to save my life. The Italians become unformed. Then we slide over. 3 of the bases from, what's his name, Stewart's brigade are in range. So 2nd Brigade skirmish line is going to fire with what they got. And they're 95th Rifles for an extra bazing badango. That whole last session was a total nightmare. 5 shots trying to hit the Italians, their skirmish screen. Italian skirmish screen gets cut down to 2 bases. Might be time to run away. They'll have to reform into the line. I don't think the Italians are going to reinforce that. Not looking good. All right, up here for the Prussian Prusso-Austro skirmish line. They're going to fire at the cannons, basically. Which I can't remember which one of these cannons is more jacked up, but they're going to fire the whole shebangy-bang at them. They're going to shoot at the artillery base with 4 on it. Try to smoke it with 6 shots. That elite battery is now up to 6 casualties and is worn, so both Imperial Guard artillery batteries are in the worn status now. Great shooting by the skirmishers there. All right, over here on the eastern side of the battlefield, these British rifles are going to fire at the French skirmish bases. And they have 3 bases left, so they are going to get, how many is that? Give me a minute here to do some math. They're doing 6 shots with the skirmish tasking because the trees will cover the French voltigeurs. Worst shooting ever. Not a single hit against the French. Very sad. French are going to fire back. They have 4 bases with the skirmish tasking, and then lose 1 for the woods. They'll drop down to 6 shots themselves. It will cause 2 casualties on those British rifles and cause a discipline check on them. Those British skirmishers are losing the battle, uncharacteristically for them. They're down to 2 bases. They're going to have to probably withdraw back into the lines next time. Get a good shot of the French crossing the pontoon bridge. Oh boy. King's German Legion sharpening their knives waiting for them. Moving farther to the west, 1st Brigade skirmish line is going to fire at the Prussian and Austrian skirmishers that come in. 6 shots at them. Moving farther to the west, 1st Brigade skirmish line is going to fire at the Prussian and Austrian skirmishers that come in. 6 shots at them. Those Jaegers have 2 casualties now. Moving down the line, we'll get 4 bases. We'll shoot at that from Peugeot's brigade, from 3rd Brigade. We'll now fire at those same skirmishers. They were able to do 1 casualty, blowing away a skirmish base of Prussian Jaegers. Sliding over here, the 2 Italian bases that are left are both going to fire at the Russian skirmishers. They do have the skirmish tasking, so we'll get 5 shots at them. The Italians are unformed, so that'll drop down to 4 skirmish shots. Sorry. They will do 1 casualty to the Russians, blowing away a skirmish base and cause a discipline check on the Russians too. And for the final skirmish shooting for this turn, the Vistula Legion, the Polish, with 4 bases and a skirmish tasking, are going to fire at the Black Watch with 7 shots. Black Watch is now up to 3 casualties, and they have to take a discipline check from the 666. Which they fail, and they go unformed. What a mess. The rumble in the jungle is getting seriously messed up. Alright, artillery assault from 4th Brigade's artillery into the Italians. Ouch. Let me check the range, if this is canister or not. This is going to be an effective range blast with bounce through into that rear battalion. Ouch. The Italians get wailed on with 4 casualties and a discipline check. They're up to 5 now. That was brutal. Like their skirmishers, 2nd Battalion of the 4th Italian Line Regiment go unformed. I don't blame them. That's a lot of firepower. The guns of the 1st and 12th Brigade can't go to long range, so they both can't shoot. But the Russian Austro guns right here are going to fire into the Italians. This is going to be canister fire, so 1 casualty will be absorbed by the skirmish screen. So the skirmish screen takes 1 casualty, and the Italians behind them take a casualty. The line battalion will have to take a casualty test. I mean, a discipline check. Which the Italians pass. I mean, the French were struggling with their discipline checks. Oh my gosh. Alright, so these guns can't shoot, these guns can't shoot. And then these guns over here are going to fire counter battery style at the French guns across the river. No effect from those gentlemen. Alright, let's see what the French could do. These French guns just got fired at by that British set of cannons. They're going to return the favor and fire right back at them. Thankfully, they weren't an artillery assault. They would have also gone low on ammo. But they go up to 3 fatigue casualties. All right, all of these guns are at 14 inches, so they're out of canister range. So they can ignore the skirmishers with cannonballs. They're going to fire straight ahead into this Prussian line regiment here. All 4 guns are, and get bounced through into both of these line battalions. Oh my gosh. Crazy. All right, these guns are going to be firing 1 shot each because they're both worn, I believe. Oh, they'll be firing inferior volleys because they're at closer and effective range. Sorry about that. Everything else will be firing effective. And this gun is on artillery assault. This is going to be a lot of dice hitting this guy. I've got it all color coordinated though. We'll figure it all out. That could have been a lot worse, as the 2nd Battalion 10th takes 4 from the Prussians. The 1st Battalion 7th takes 3. And then nothing happens to the 2nd Battalion 34th Austrian. They get lucky. And so that's 7 casualties. We'll do a discipline check on the leading Prussian unit, though. Final shots, artillery-wise, this turn for the French will be both of these batteries firing straight into this Russian Tobolsk regiment, and then bouncing through into the Azov regiment. Lead Russian battalion takes 2, while the trailing Azov regiment takes 1. That ends the artillery phase of this turn. Go on to line firing. I'm not sure if we have any, to tell you the truth, because it's all skirmishers are still deployed. And these gentlemen over here in the woods can't shoot. All right, so that'll end the turn. All right. Got our first charges in that one. We're going to move on to turn 5, 11 o'clock in the morning. It's not time for tea and crumpets yet. Getting pretty silly out here. Skirmish screens are getting broken down pretty hardcore. That's pretty awesome. Love this rule system. Okay. This is just getting dumb over here in the woods. Okay, we'll see what happens. You guys are great. Hang in there. We'll see ya. All right, we'll go ahead and start off with Wellington's Corps orders first, and move on to Napoleon after that. Alright, Wellington gets everything but the red die, which isn't bad. Let's see if Napoleon can do any better. He usually screws these up. Alright, Napoleon gets everything. To talk a little smack, and he comes through like a boss. Alright, let's check available ADCs for the Allied forces. Both Uxbridge and Picton end up with 4 each. I think Wellington might be content with that, but we'll see. And let's go over to Ney and Soult, see how they do. Soult gets 6, Ney gets 5, which is a lot better than last turn for Ney. He's back in action. Alright, let's go on to placing these orders and stuff. Alright, for the French, General Campy with the Polish, he gets a skirmish tasking. General Grenier gets a ADC reroll. Husson doesn't get anything. We get an ADC reroll with Peugeot. The Ney's extra ADC goes into initiative. You can reroll one of those die. And then everything goes in on Brew from Soult. He gets Glory, Infantry Assault, and a Forwards tasking plus an ADC reroll. For the Allied forces, we'll get a reroll on General Mitchell and 4th Brigade. We'll get an Artillery Assault and a reroll for the Russians. We'll also get a skirmish tasking over here on General Stewart with a reroll. And then von Steinmetz will also get a skirmish tasking and a reroll for all 4 of the Allied, for General Picton's side. Alright, let's start on the French left with Ney's forces. See how his 5 brigade commanders do. Everything is active over here on the French left and, well, I guess part of the center town with the Italians, with the Jamin and Peugeot. Alright, going on over to Soult, see how his boys do. Soult is also super active. Everything's ready to go. It's clicking this turn. Alright, let's come over to the Allied side and start with Uxbridge. Unfortunately for the Allies, Halkett and Stedman both become hesitant. Wellington used the black die to bring in one of his reserve cavalry brigades in the rear right here. So we'll do a quick dice roll to see what turn they arrive on. Wellington might be a little disappointed there. Turn 8, von Klopp's reserve cavalry brigade will arrive here in the center. Alright, well, that's something at least. Let's go on over to Picton's left flank of the Allies. Wellington might be a little disappointed there. Turn 8, von Klopp's reserve cavalry brigade will arrive here in the center. Alright, well, that's something at least. Let's go on over to Picton's left flank of the Allies. General Adams' brigade in Halle getting a little bit too fat, eating all the food. They are hesitant this turn. So there's 3 hesitant British brigades. 2 are in 1 division, of course. So they're going to Wellington will be rolling 3 dice for initiative. Napoleon will be rolling 2 dice and then re-rolling whichever one he needs to get a higher result if needed. Alright, not necessary as a 10 beats a 3, and Napoleon will seize the initiative back from Wellington. Alright, for charges, General Brew, will charge his brigades with forwards and everything else across the pontoon bridge towards the Prussian Ostros up front here. No other charges to be declared. That'll happen. They just measured that. The those 2 Prussian battalions and the Austrian battalion will align instead of firing to prevent getting charged in the flank. French 5th Brigade is steamed over the pontoon bridge, slamming into the Prussian and Austrian brigade under von Steinmetz. The Prussians have aligned to try to basically not take a flank attack. Left their skirmishers out front to try to shoot up the artillery, which was their main objective anyway. Brew even brought his artillery across the bridge to support whatever he might do next. And yeah, so let's do a charge. The French have glory, and yeah, so they'll be 1 thing higher than the Prussians. They'll get 1 extra reroll there, I believe. The Prussians will have 2 supports, while the French look like they're going to have 4, to tell you the truth. Oh gosh, here's another look. Steamrolling into them. Woo! These boys need some help. Let's see if Stewart can get out there and do some support. Help out these boys from getting destroyed. Alright, here's the initial clash. Rolling 2d6 for each side. Oh yes, the Prussians get a 9 right off the bat. French got a 6 and a 1. That's a great roll by the Prussians. 2nd Battalion of the 27th gets involved, has very little impact. Alright, it's up for 3rd Battalion. They're joining the fray now. See if they can have an impact. Alright, right now the French are winning by 1. The Prussians are kind of dwelling on sitting on 9. Alright, Both sides have 2 rerolls left. They're not going to risk it anymore. They just go from decent to bad if they do. The French will combat with Elan. The Russians will be unformed, or Prussians will be unformed for this hand-to-hand at the end of the turn. All right, starting over with skirmishers on the left. The Polish skirmishers with the skirmish tasking. Oh gosh. Would be 8 shots, but they're in cover, so 7 shots. 2 more casualties for the 45th. The Black Watch is up to 5 casualties now from that skirmish shooting. That's all. Well, that's getting kind of rough. Woo! All right, moving down the line. And actually, I'll stop right there because movement's supposed to happen first. So remember, I've already shot those guys, so I didn't screw up too bad. Just 1 skirmish tasking. Let's do movement for the French and her allies. All right, we've got pressure all across the line here with movement for both sides. The Polish went into attack column with all 4 battalions. No movement here. We're getting some close range musketry here. 9th Léger is just waiting for their turn. Italians move forward, recalled their skirmish screen behind them, have gauged the Russians in close range musketry. Peugeot's 3rd Brigade is kept up with the Italians for support. You've already seen the Prussians and Austrians. These gentlemen are just kind of holding their line. I was gonna move them forward, but then I was like, oh gosh, I need to hold the center. Can't have Wellington taken off and changed till the battle's done. That's not nice. Over here, these guys, the British are starting to move up to put pressure on the French right as they come across the bridge. Napoleon's keeping these gentlemen here, saving them for later. Kind of like an on-table reserve. And then, speaking of their on-table reserve, Marconet's, I believe it is, no, Mazarini's brigade is starting to move towards the pontoons as well. So, lots of stuff going on at the old Battle of Halle. Okay, now we can do skirmish shooting. I've already done the first one with the Polish, and we'll get on to more of it as we go across the French line. All right, Clouseau's skirmish screen from 1st Brigade is going to fire at the Austro-Prussian skirmish line right there. That'll be the first shot. No skirmish tasking, so just 5 shots. The French voltigeurs in the trees have the British have recalled their skirmish screen during the movement phase. These gentlemen will fire 5 shots, actually down to no, it won't be. Yeah, 5 shots. No. So they got 4 bases. They go up to 5 shots, and they lose 1 because of the trees. So they'll shoot 4 shots. I have to think about that out loud. Sorry about that, everybody. They'll shoot at this 2nd Queen zone. Yeah. The Queen zone will suffer 1 casualty from that skirmish fire from the trees. They're not happy about that. And that'll end the French skirmish fire. We'll go up to the Austro-Prussian skirmish line. They'll get 4 shots. They have the skirmish task and go to 6 shots. They're going to blast into that same artillery battery from before. And that's actually 7 shots. Sorry about that. Almost ripped them off. We're going to put 2 casualties onto that skirmish base and also force a discipline check on them right now. They go up to 8 casualties, but they do pass that, discipline check. Alright, good shooting by them. What's next for do the Allies have any other skirmishers that can shoot? Ooh, I think that's it. Okay. We will go on to artillery fire, starting with the French. Firing into the Russians. Using combo fire here, these 2 batteries are going to blast away at effective range. Each Russian line battalion takes 1 more casualty. The French gun on the left takes a fatigue casualty. Not the best shooting there for those gentlemen. Whoa, we could do better than that, man. The French team onslaught going to fire straight ahead into these Prussians with whatever they got left from these 4 batteries all strung together, one of which is on assault fire. Well, the French Grand Battery could have done better, but oh well. The gun that was on artillery assault does a casualty to itself. The rest of the guns combo in and do enough casualties to raise the front Prussian unit to 6, and the rear Austrian militia unit to 3. No discipline checks, they are out of canister range. And that ends the French artillery fire. Alright, these guns over here for the British 12th Brigade, what's left of the Corps Artillery Brigade, can fire across the hill. They're going to hit that same battery that the Prussian skirmishers were hitting. Second Battalion 36 takes bounce through for 1 casualty. This battery on the left of the Imperial battery takes another casualty. They're up to 9, so take it away, get them nickel and diming them. The Russian guns, they're going to go nuts though. They get canister fire into the Italians with artillery assault. Or they raise them up to 4 casualties. They're going to force a discipline check on this Italian, I think it's the 1st Battalion of the 4th Italian Regiment. They fail that and become unformed. Oh! Alright, over here, these guns are just out of canister range, but they're going to fire at that trailing unit with effective fire. No bounce through. That blast raises them to 6 casualties. And I think that might be the end of the artillery shooting, because these guns back here are out of range. I think that's it. Alright, we're getting a volley with cover. 2nd Battalion 70th in the trees, firing into the Black Watch. The trees and the squirrels absorb most of that damage. No effect on the Black Watch. 3rd Battalion 70th. Oh, they're actually formed. They reform in the movement phase. They're going to fire into the Cameron Highlanders. Sorry, into the Gordon Highlanders. My fault. Another inferior volley. Gordon Highlanders suffer a casualty, going up to 3. I'll move down to the Italians next. Both of these Italian line infantry units are going to combo fire into the Simbrisk 2nd Battalion Russian infantry unit. They knock those Russians up to 5 casualties. They got to take a discipline check now to see what happens to them. There's no limit to what the Russians consider acceptable casualties. Not a big deal. They keep it together. That's it for volley fire for the French. We'll start over here as the 2nd Queen Zone and I think the 28th will fire into the trees against these skirmishers. Firing at skirmishers and firing into the trees is going to make both of these volleys weak volleys, rolling 1 dice each. Both volleys cause a casualty. They already had 1 casualty, so they lose a skirmish base. Great shooting by the British there. And they are actually, I got to roll 2 more dice for them because they're actually, was it well trained, what it was called? They're drilled, so each volley got an extra casualty dice. Those French skirmishers take 2 more casualties as they get rocked by some great British musketry. Way to go, baby. Alright, we'll slide down the line to the Russians. The Simbrinsk battalion is going to fire into these Italians in front of them. Sorry, I overshot with my camera there. These guys over here. They raise the Italians to 5 casualties. And then over here, the Tobolsk infantry regiment is going to fire, or infantry battalion, excuse me, is going to fire their volley at these the 4th Italian, 4th. That puts 2 casualties on the Italians. Sliding into the trees, the Cameron Highlanders are going to fire an inferior volley with an extra casualty dice against the French. That causes 1 casualty to the 3rd Battalion of the 70th. And then shooting at the 2nd Battalion of the 70th, the Black Watch. They are unformed, unfortunately, firing into the trees. They're going to fire just 2 casualty dice with the poor volley and being drilled. They knocked the French up to 3 casualties. Thankfully, that 1 was on the casualty die from being drilled, not on the volley. Otherwise, it would have had fire discipline on top of everything else. All right, that ends the volley fire, the cannon fire, the skirmish fire, and we go on to melee, where we have the French with the lawn against the unformed Prussians over here. All right, the Prussians will be rolling 4 combat dice, and the French will be rolling 7 with all the good stuff. All right, see what happens. Looking for 4, 5s, and 6s. All right, the Prussians will take 4 casualties and go up to 6. The French will take 2 and just be at 2. I think this is pretty much they're going to win by 2, and we'll check that on the melee table. All right, and these guys fall back and they retreat, unforming their 2 units behind them, the Austrians and the other Prussian unit. French can't advance because they'll be within 3 inches of the unformed, but they could have taken the ground if it didn't get within 3 inches. I probably could move up an inch, but you know, that's a lot of finagling for 1 inch of movement. All right. Oh man, sorry about that. See, it is pretty early in the morning for me. I just got excited and woke up and started wanting to play. All right, that ends the turn. So the clock strikes 11:30. Turn 6 about to happen. Halle's still relatively untouched. British are moving up a little bit to give support to the beleaguered Prussian and Austrian brigade in the center of the battlefield, getting smashed from every direction there is. French massing up to attack across the pontoon bridge. Is it a good idea? I don't know. Probably not. French still holding a lot of stuff in reserve, but so are the Allies and the British. So, and Wellington has called for one of his cavalry reserve squadrons or brigades, but it will not arrive for another hour and a half. I don't know where the heck they were. They're probably over down the road checking out Scott's battle. Like, oh, we got to go back to the battle. Italians moving forward, engaged in close-range musketry with the Russians. They're supported by Peugeot's brigade and his artillery. And then the woods just continue to be a bloodbath. But it looks like the Polish are getting ready to juggernaut into here and just cause all kinds of mayhem in the woods. All right, the Highlanders have already repulsed 1 attack led by Napoleon. So can they do another? All right, we'll find out in turn 6. All right, guys, hang in there. All right. Turn 6, 11:30 a.m. Napoleon still has not received any messages from Davout down the road at this point. No messengers, so he's assuming things are going well at Nivelle. But you never know. Napoleon has dispatched a message to Davout that he is feeling confident and telling him to protect his right. And at some point he'll try to either support him or capture Brussels and send some Dutch down there after he gets them on our side. Haha! We'll see, though. All right, let's see. The British have a lot to say about it. It's still early in this battle. Okay, so let's do corps orders. We'll start with Napoleon. Napoleon's going to use his corps adjutant to reroll the 1-1. All right. Well, Napoleon has everything. He can use whatever he wants. Wellington's feeling confident. He's wished his cavalry would get here a little bit sooner, but he's fine with waiting that extra little bit of time for them to get here just because there's not enough room for them to, not enough lanes for them to attack through yet, so he's not too concerned. He has dispatched messages to Blucher and the Prince of Orange, but the circumferential route they have to take to go up to Brussels and go around to avoid Davout's troops and his cavalry is he's not planning on hearing anything back from them for quite some time. His plan is to he's getting a little bit worried about the attack on the right, feeling that Napoleon might be trying to prime away from his route to Antwerp. That's where the British fleet is and all of his reinforcements, so he'd like to keep both options open, either Brussels or Antwerp. Wellington's also super fired up. He has all of his core orders available. Alright, we'll start with the Brits and see what kind of ADCs they have available. Picton ends up with 4 ADCs available, and Uxbridge ends up with 5, which is it's not bad at all. You can still do. Thankfully, Picton rolled a double 6 in there to get an extra ADC. All right, flip over to the forces of Napoleon. Ney is rocking in the free world with 7 ADCs. Solt's able to maintain 5, which is pretty fantastic. All right, we'll place the Allied orders first, then we'll do the French, and then we'll see which brigades are active. For the Allies, General Pack gets a glory tasking, just in case. He's bold, so he can reroll. I think there's going to be some hand-to-hand in there. The the Polish are primed to attack. Just to try to save initiative, General Mitchell gets a reroll. General Semenovich gets glory in case the Italians attack, plus a reroll, or he wants... Yeah, I think he'll let the Italians attack. General Stewart gets a reroll here. Can't afford... Von Steinmetz is getting pressure from multiple directions. He's going to take a reroll, plus skirmish tasking. Just try to fire into those into those French artillery pieces. And then a reroll over here with 5th Brigade on Johnstone, as he wants to continue to push forward and put pressure on the French here and try to pinch them against the river and prevent the other attack columns from coming across. If you can cut them off, that'd be great. Not sure if you'll get there in time, but we'll see. All right, go over to the French side of things. For Napoleon's forces, General Campy with the Polish brigade, they get... Because he is a bold brigadier, but I poured too many things in for his bold to count. So he gets a reroll, glory, and infantry assault. The 70th Regiment under Grenier gets a skirmishers tasking and a reroll. General Husson, he's bold, so he's going to get a skirmishers tasking. And then for the final, the 7th ADC, General Jamin, just going to get a reroll just so he doesn't go hesitant out there while everything else is going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. All right, let's see what these brigades do. Napoleon ended up giving his red die for an extra ADC to Soult, and Wellington gave his extra ADC over here to General Halkett to try to avoid them going hesitant. All right, we're going to start on the Allied left and see how active their brigades are. Everything's active for Picton. Going over to the Earl of Uxbridge now, see how his brigades do. He is also 100% active, which is fantastic. All right, flipping over to Soult. General Mazarin goes hesitant over here, approaching the pontoon bridge. He's not sure when he sees French artillery sitting up there at the other end. Has some concerns, can see British troops moving through the woods. The rest of Soult is in fuego, ready to go. Let's go over here to Ney and see what he can do. Peugeot gets confused in the rear, but the rest of Ney's stuff is active. I guess that won't really affect his guns too bad. Everything's in effective range. Okay. It's time for initiative. No one will have they'll both be 2 dice because the French 2 hesitant brigades are both in separate divisions. Napoleon's at the height of his command does another double 6 on initiative, gets back the 1 C&C order he already used. He's up to 3 again. What a beast. Plus he steals the initiative again. Wellington concerned. All right, announcing charges. The French are going to announce 2 charges. Over here into the Prussians, we're going to have a charge. And then on the other side of the battlefield, the Polish are going to charge into the Black Watch and see what kind of impact they can have. Try to break the line again on the right. I don't know. Polish go in hard against the Black Watch, who were unformed, but they did a line to not take it on the chin. So there won't be any shooting there. And then over on the other side of the battlefield, there will be some shooting as the, I think it's Grenier's, Bruce units from the 27th Line Regiment slam into the Prussian troops that are also unformed. We'll start over here. Both units are Grenadier, and they both have glory, so it's going to be even there. The Scots are going to have 2 supports. The Polish will have 3. And actually, they both get 1 extra for glory, so that's awesome. I believe the Black Watch will be rolling 3 dice to start, though, and taking the lower 2 because they are unformed. Yeah, it's correct. 3 dice for the Scottish, and 2 for the French. French will have 4 rerolls. The Highlanders will get 3. Oof. Start off with a draw. With everybody rolled 4s. That was insane. I rolled 5 4s. Where's my Yahtzee at? All right. I think a draw is not good. It's closed to hand to hand. Oh boy. I got to think about this. I do have like 4 chances to beat a 4, but I have 4 chances to get less than a 4 as well. All right, French are going to go for it, or the Polish, sorry. They're going to try to beat a 4. Here comes the death spiral. That's a 3. All right, that's the commander urging him forward. They pushed a bit too hard for the glory. Now we've got the supports coming in. First Polish support, no help at all from the 2nd Battalion. Here comes the 3rd Battalion. They completely muff it up. They run into the wrong unit and they start knocking their own guys down. It's all up to the 4th Battalion. Can they do it? They're able to dig it out. That was stressful. They're going to win by 1. The Highlanders are already unformed already, so they gain nothing from this except for the French will get a lawn. They have 3 chances to beat 4. After watching that debacle, I don't think so. We'll take our chances on the dice rolls. They will close to melee, and now that they're in attack column, the Polish will fight with a lawn, and the Scottish, who are already unformed, will just stay that way. Holy cow, that was stressful. It's like getting a sweat going on. All right, Prussians are unformed. They're rolling 3 dice. Oh, they get closing fire first against the French as they come on in. The volley will be a little bit diminished because of being unformed. I do think they get a CD firing into an attack column, though. First Battalion of the 7th West Prussian, I think it is. Oh, yes. They unload. Do 3 casualties onto the French as they come on in. They're going to cause a discipline check. They're going to put them up to 5 casualties, and we'll get a destiny roll. That's why the Prussians are awesome. The French go boss mode and pass their discipline check. Oh yeah, they're pumped. That volley smokes one of the brigade colonels right off his horse, splitting his head in half, faltering the brigade. I don't know if, I guess the attack still goes in. I don't know what happens, but they're faltered now. So I have to do some quick reading. The falter on a charge doesn't take effect until after this sub-phase. So the unit doesn't notice, they're so fired up, they're charging in. They don't even notice their colonel just got his head caved in. So, but they will right after the charge. So both sides are going to roll 3d6. The French, because they took 3 casualties on the way in. The Prussians, because they're unformed. And then support-wise, the Prussians will get 2, and the French will get 4. All right, I like rolling doubles of everything. Both sides end up with 4. French will immediately send in will use their glory. The commander will try to hype it up to the next level and raise that 2 up. General Bruce, screaming at the top of his lungs, has no effect on that. Now they're sending in reserve battalions in support. Here they comes the 2nd Battalion. They have minimum impact. French are going to send in the 3rd Battalion in support. Alright, at this moment the French are at 6, the Prussians are at 4. Prussians are going to use one of their supports. Oh yeah, that perfectly timed counterattack into the charge. The Prussians are just amazing. They're winning by 2 right now. French have got to send in their last battalion to try to salvage this. Right now it's a draw. Mathematically, the Prussians think they can win it. They're fired up. They're going to roll their 2 and see if they can beat it with their last support. Oh yeah, the Prussians will not be denied with a win by 4 against the French attack. Alright, the lead unit's going to withdraw. They're going to disorder the unit behind them. All 4 units take 1 CD to see if they get an extra casualty. And the Prussians will be victorious. Now it sinks in that one of their colonels got smoked. So the 4th Battalion, 27th is unformed. The 1st Battalion, 27th is worn and unformed with 6 casualties, and they fall back. And the 3rd Battalion of the 27th takes a casualty. I gotta get rid of that 5 up there. Prussians take it like a boss. Good job, gents. Alright, that ends the charge phase. We go into movement phase first. French are gonna do some moving and some shaking. For movement for the French, General Mazarin, he's hesitant, but he sent his skirmishers across the pontoon bridge to start supporting General Bru, especially after what just happened to Bru. He just got, psychological damage. Once again, these gentlemen are kind of holding firm all across the board. The Italians are going to just be content with going with close-range musketry with the Russians. General Peugeot is hesitant. He just kind of holds his position. Not too concerned about things. And then over here, we had some big-time movement over here. The 9th Léger pushed their skirmishers forward to engage the Highlanders. General Grenier changed formation into attack column and pushed his skirmishers forward too. And then over here we've got the charge going on. General Johnstone moved up on the British left and started making an impact. They're going to cut off that pontoon bridge and take advantage of General Bru's state of confusion, as he'll bring his muskets to bear on what's left of his infantry brigade. For skirmish fire over here, we've got I think it's General Grenier, right? General Grenier's skirmish line from the 2nd Brigade. They have 4 bases. They're going to fire into the Gordon Highlanders with the skirmish tasking, losing 1 for the trees. They're shooting 6 dice. Gordon Highlanders goes up to 5 casualties. Now the 9th Leger skirmishers, which are going to be veteran and just badass. They've got 5 of them. And they have the skirmish tasking. So they're going to shoot 8 dice at the Gordon Highlanders. Highlanders now worn with 7 casualties. Wow. Little switcheroo in there. Gets ugly. 1st Brigade skirmishers are going to blast away. They don't have the skirmish tasking. Oh, they do. Oh, they have 8 shots at the Prussians, the Jaegers. That blows away a skirmish base from the Jaegers. And over here we're going to get a combo action. These skirmishers from 6th Brigade from Mazarini who crossed the bridge are in range of the 28th. So all these 3 skirmish bases from Bruce Brigade and these 4 skirmish bases from Mazarini's Brigade are all going to fire at the 28th. '28 suffers 2 casualties. They're in the trees. Now we'll go back to Allied skirmishers. We go over to the Jaegers. 3 bases left. I guess they got rifles. I probably owe them a shot. I'll give them one more this turn. All right, 8 shots from the Jaegers at that artillery piece up there they've been peppering away on. That elite battery of Daumond's brigade goes up to 11 casualties. One more and they will disperse, faltering another brigade for Napoleon. Allied forces have no other skirmishers, so that'll end skirmish fire. We'll go into artillery fire. We'll start off right here with these 2 cannons doing their usual effective range blast against those 2 Russians, which will get bounced through into the second one. Losk regiment is up to 5 casualties now. They get peppered by cannonballs. Ah! All right, now we go over to the mega artillery setup over there. They're going to fire into those Prussians again with the Austrian militia behind them. We got 2 normal volleys, and then we've got 2 inferior from the center. The 2nd Regiment of the 7th, 2nd Battalion of the 7th Regiment of the 2nd West Prussian just gets smoked. 4 more casualties. They're up to 10. They're worn. Bounce through, does 1 more into the 3rd Battalion of the 34th Militia Regiment from the Austrians. They're getting beat down too. They're hit with body parts from the Prussians. They got to take a discipline check, the Austrians, as they get hammered. The Prussians become unformed like the rest of the brigade. It's just getting shot from every single angle. They're out there wondering what they're doing under the command of the Duke of Wellington. Why'd you put us out here, baby? They do have British units to their left now. They are being supported, so they should feel some love as the Brits start moving up to take the burden off some of these guys. They did the lion's share of the work here in the center. Russo-Austro gun, bam, canister range once again into the Italians. Italian infantry battalion is now blasted with 7 casualties. They're worn. They've taken a discipline check from that canister fire. Oh, they're doing it for Caesar. They love Marat. I'm just kidding. Well, they might. Who knows? Those guys keep it together, which is amazing. I can't believe it. And this gun will fire once again at that the trailing Italian unit. The Italians take 9 casualties, or they take enough 3 casualties. They go up to 9. They need a discipline check for a worn unit. They're starting to feel like the Prussians and Austrians over there to their right. Just too much firepower for them as they become unformed. Oh, they're going to look for some kind of switch up in the line here. That is the end of artillery fire as we go into volley fire. All right, both Italian units are going to fire again at this Russian unit trying to just break them down. They raised them 3 casualties to 8. They are worn now. It's just ugly stuff. And I think all that's left, the French don't have another volley fire. It's all Allied stuff. We'll start down here at the left as the, what do we got here? The 28th and the 2nd are both going to fire at these skirmishers here and try to put them out of business. Totally forgot. Those were firing into cover and firing at skirmishers is, pathetic volley. They're able to do 1 casualty to the skirmishers, and the 2nd gets a fire discipline. Those skirmishers already had 2 casualties, so they lose 1 more and lose another base. Alright, now both Russian line infantry battalions will fire at the corresponding Italian unit. Alright, this battalion takes 1 casualty, goes up to 8, so they're in trouble. And these guys take 3 casualties, go up to 5, and we get a destiny roll from these gentlemen hammering them. Russians don't take a move, they go ahead and recover a casualty. And yeah, it worked out pretty well. Okay, and that could be the end of volley fire. The Highlanders can't volley fire in there because they were part of the charge they supported. And all we've got left is the hand-to-hand over here on the right. Alright, this is going to be a close and brutal hand-to-hand. Let's roll them. Alright, the Vistula Legion takes the ground. They take 1 casualty on that battalion that led the attack. The Cameron Highlanders are unformed by the retreating Black Watch. So they're unformed now. And then you've got the Black Watch falls back with 8 casualties behind, what's his name? General Stedman's brigade. Oh, brutal. And that'll end the turn. It's crazy. Going into turn 7. It's lunchtime. 12 o'clock, my friends. Go get yourself some biscuits and gravy. It's good stuff. Not really. All right. And, wow. Seesawing the way you want it in any kind of Napoleonic battle. All right. Got to make some decisions here on where to go. Starting to threaten the road to Antwerp here is the finally the combined 3 Polish and French start pushing back the Highlanders who've been holding out like a boss. They still could hold out more, you never know. And the center, the Italians, they just need to surrender like they usually do. All right, guys. We'll see you in a minute. Sorry, you Italians. I love you guys. So added, more realism to this campaign. Scott and I have been texting each other and calling each other and doing timestamp messages, going back and forth between the 2 battlefields. Because of the way it is on the map and with the road system, French messages from Davout to Napoleon are very quick. While in counter to that, messages from Wellington to the Prince of Orange and to Prince Blucher take a long time because of the road system. The Allied messages need to go like north to Brussels and then back down, that southeast road there to get all the way down to where the Allied command is. If the straight line going, I think Scott points it out in his video, is basically goes right through where French cavalry would be roaming. 1, looking for enemy forces. 2, looking for deserters, and looking for messengers too to capture. So at this time, the 2nd message has arrived from Marshal Davout, to Napoleon. The first one is basically right after we started the attack at Halle, Davout sent a message saying he had established a good defensive position at Nivelles to the south and was waiting for the Prussians to arrive to see, so he could begin his defense of that area. So just to add a bit more flavor to this message, I looked online on Google and looked for examples of mail and dispatches sent between Davout and Napoleon, of Napoleon writing to Davout, and kind of changed around some words to make it a bit more to fit into what's actually happening right now, just for fun. So Napoleon has just drafted a message at 12:10 to send to Davout. And I'll just read this. I've already typed it to Scott. He goes, Marshal Davout, I have received your dispatch regarding the disposition of your troops approaching your position. Your vigilance is commendable, and I'm confident in your ability to decisively confront any potential threat. However, I must emphasize the utmost importance of maintaining a posture of calculated aggression, not allowing the Prussians to perceive any hesitation from our forces. Should they sense weakness, it could embolden them to act. Therefore, I direct you to further reinforce your positions at Nivelles and be prepared to launch a swift offensive should the Prussians make any move towards provocation. Remember that swift action is often the key to victory. I place great trust in your leadership, Master Marshal Davout. Sincerely, Napoleon Bonaparte. So, boom, there's your message there. So, unfortunately, but fortunately, it wasn't the entire turn, but the starting part of turn 7 got corrupted. Thankfully, a lot of times I film turn and then I go upstairs and then I edit one whole turn and then I come back down and play another turn. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think these things just randomly happen. I probably screwed something up. I think my computer was rebooting while I was plugging in the card to import the data, and something just went kaplooey. But I'll just do a quick synopsis of what happened so far in turn 7. Only got through the one charge, so thankfully there's still a lot of shooting left, but I'll just go over that right now. Also at 12 o'clock, Wellington sends his first communication of the day to Blucher. This is kind of edited version of an actual letter that Wellington wrote, but this one was after the Battle of Quatre Bras. So this is the message I sent to Scott tagged at 12 o'clock. We'll even see if it even reaches that battle. My dear Prince Blucher, I am writing to inform you of the situation at Halle. We have engaged the French in a hard-fought battle. While we are managing to hold our ground, the enemy remains strong and is pressing heavily against our lines. It is imperative that you move your Prussian forces with haste to our support, as the French are attempting to outflank us and could potentially threaten our entire position. I believe a coordinated attack by our combined armies is the only way to decisively defeat the enemy. Please communicate your intentions as soon as possible. With utmost regard, Arthur Wellesley, the Duke of Wellington. So the turn started out, both Wellington and Napoleon both got several corps orders, 3 out of the 4. They both will choose to use the Red ADC at some point to supplement their divisional commanders' ADCs. For ADC availability, it wasn't the best. Both Picton and Soult got 3, and then Ney and Earl of Uxbridge both got 4. Wellington decided to use a CNC command, the reinforcements, and brought the British Guard in. That is General Maitland's brigade. They have not moved yet. They'll move in the movement phase of the, but that's where they're coming in at to support this whole right side that's on the verge as far as Wellington is concerned. Napoleon also chose to use a CNC command and did stand with me to reinforce the French brigade over here that was faltering. So he went over there and turned their frown upside down. What mostly happened in the brigades being available, the British had 3 hesitant brigades, 2 in one division. The French had 1 in one of their divisions, which caused initiative issues for the British. Wellington ended up rolling 3 1s for initiative. Ended up, I think, Napoleon won, rolling a 5. For ADCs, the big thing for the British was they tried to just help themselves out as best as they can for the initiative by not having hesitant brigades. This brigade here swung like a gate with the forwards command. General Stewart rolled 2nd Brigade to attack the Italians, and the French basically did the same thing. They rolled to attack the Prussians. Unfortunately, the Prussians and Johnstone's were 2 of the brigades that went hesitant for the British, or for the Allies, excuse me, which would cause, or probably going to cause issues later on. Over here, things went horribly badly. Napoleon put a infantry assault and a glory on the Prussians for General Campi, and they went in against the Highland Brigade and just destroyed them. They ended up getting a victory on them. They were pushed back here, so we had 2 retreating battalions. Both took 3 casualties on the way back, and faltering the brigade when they were. Also, the Prussians have moved forward and have attacked into this next line of the British, and basically will do that in the combat phase where they will melee with Elan. The rest of the French are doing, well, just regular shooting here, skirmish tasking here. The 9th Leger kind of moved up. Italians are just taking a beating. I probably should attack the cannons, but I didn't think of it, so that's my fault. These gentlemen are pivoting. They're stationary. These guys are static. These guys are following commands. I'll have to put Napoleon back over here now that he's done communicating with the messenger, because he is over here with General Brew for his CNC command. I brought his, I got the skirmishers from the Imperial Guard just to make it look more Napoleon-y. So I'll have to give them back when General Friant arrives with his brigade, if they are even needed. And then these gentlemen are just kind of waiting in reserve. Right now there's no room. General Brew did recall his skirmishers, and General Mazarin's skirmishers have kind of taken their position. Plus he's got artillery there. He's going to fire into the trees. With the Stand With Me, I think it's what it's called, you're able to recover 1 casualty for 3 of the battalions in the brigade. Took 1 off that artillery, 1 off the 2nd Battalion, 70th, 1 off the 1st Battalion, reducing them down to 5 where they were at 6, so they're no longer worn. So that's really all that's happened, which is significant. The French have initiative. French have piled in over there for an attack. I think I've done all of the non-tactical movement. We'll now do the forwards move for the British Guard. They'll probably move into that hole right there if they get enough of a move. And that'll be it. Then we'll just continue a turn as normal. Sorry about the corrupt data. Kind of, it made me, it's frustrating when it happens. But I'm kind of glad my wife got home, so I just kind of I shut it down early in the turn so I could talk with her. And I just thought I'd look at the video to see how it looked. And found out it was all trashed. So at least it wasn't a full turn. That would have been really sad. So cool. I didn't want to have to go recreate everything. That would have been kind of nuts. But I probably would have taken a shot at it. So with a third of a turn, I can compensate for it. All right, let's get back to the action. We're going to do... Actually, I'm going to move these Italians so the movement's not all done all the way. All right, those battalions basically flip-flopped as the other one does a passage of line, the other one retreats back behind them. I think they get marked with a retreat token too. I'll have to do that one real quick too. All right, I got them marked with a retreat token now. All right, so let's see how far the guard does. I think you get a bonus when you're a reserve unit coming on with a forward's tasking. Since they only brought in one brigade with the CNC commit reserves order, they're able to get a 2d6 bonus to this. 6 inches they'll move anyway. Let's see where they land. All right, the Guards Brigade with their 5 skirmish bases comes in behind those gentlemen. It'll give a breather for the Highland Brigade. They still have one Highland Battalion up front. It's about to get hammered by skirmishers. Oh, he should have done a voluntary runaway. And it's looking basically just totally stupid. Lots of dudes everywhere. All right, that looks great. Yeah. All right, let's get the battle going. All right, we'll go into skirmish fire. Sorry, I was kind of zoomed in there. Grenier's brigade will fire. They have 4 skirmish bases. They're in the trees, so they'll fire 4 shots into the what's left of these. Which is this? The Argyle Highlanders? The Argyle Highlanders. Let's see what happens. Those gentlemen are always able to score 1 hit against the 91st, which doesn't do anything. So that's too bad for them. But unfortunately, the 9th Leger skirmishers are a little bit better, and they have the skirmish tasking. We're going to get 7 shots at them. Ah! Not the best skirmish fire, only getting 1 casualty against the Highlanders. They're up to 8 though, not looking good. Alright, we got skirmisher on skirmisher here as the 2 new units collide. Alright, the French line is 5 skirmish bases, so they're going to get 6 shots against the British. 2nd Brigade's skirmish line only takes 1 casualty. Not the most effective fire either. Now we'll have the French skirmishers over here from their 1st Brigade firing back into the Prussian Jaegers. They also have 5 bases, so 6 shots. Oh, now we got cotton balls in there. It looks a little better. All right, the Jaegers lost a skirmish base. They take 2 casualties. They're going to take a discipline check because there was no skirmish tasking. They don't have to take anything. All right, and the final skirmishers will be these gentlemen firing 4 shots into the trees against the British line. No effect against the 28th. Those shots go wide. All right, now the British will get or the Allies will get to shoot back. The 2 Jaeger bases that are left are going to fire at that 1 cannon that's about to go pop and try to falter that brigade for Napoleon. 3 shots. Sorry, 4 shots because they're rifles. Oh, no effect. All right, now we've got British rifles, 4 bases, so 6 shots against the French voltigeurs. They pop the French with 2 casualties, and that'll end the skirmish phase. And we'll go into artillery. We'll start with the French guns right here, continuing to hammer the Russians, like the Russians just standing there taking it like a boss. Lead Russian battalion now has 7 casualties. They take 2 more, while the supporting battalion behind them, the Azov regiment, they take 1 more casualty. They're up to 3. All right, French. They're going to have to do something a little bit different here because now the French have come in front of these guys. These 3 guns can still fire straight ahead, but these guys will have to fire counter battery style. We'll do the counter battery style first against those guns up on the ridge. Does 1 casualty on that on those 9-pounders, take them up to 6 casualties. They are worn now. Now the triple threat is going to fire at these broken down Prussians. These guys have 11 casualties. These guys have 6. So these are going to be weak batteries or inferior. And these guys are going to be straight up goodness. Everything's going to go bounce through into the Austrian reservists. Oh my gosh, that battalion of Prussians is absolutely destroyed. Feltering von Steinmetz's brigade, the Austrian reservists take 2 casualties. They go up to 6, but the 2nd Battalion, 7th Infantry Regiment, 2nd West Prussian is destroyed and dispersed by French artillery fire. This final battery from the 5th Brigade fires canister into those gentlemen, but they get cover from the trees, the 2nd Queen Zone. The trees protect the 2nd Queen Zone as they only take 1 casualty from that canister fire. This artillery can't fire. They need to move somewhere. They're just not accomplishing much. These gentlemen are going to do counter battery fire at the same battery that fired at them. Oh, they can only fire 1 CD because it'll be an inferior blast, and they're worn. They do inflict a casualty, marking them up to 4. This battery's hesitant, can't fire to long range, and it can't reach anything it wants to shoot at. These gentlemen here are going to blast effective range against that same Italian unit that's about to pop. The Italian regiment goes up to 10 casualties. They got to do something. At least they're formed now. They've been unformed for like life, but they still take a barrage from the, well, they won't, but the guys in front are going to take a barrage from Soviet infantry, or Russian infantry. All right, and that ends the artillery phase. Go on to volley fire, where we do have, in here, we have the 91st can fire some kind of volley against skirmishers in cover, but it's going to be 1 die plus an extra die for a drilled volley. I should have started with the French, but there was really no French over here, so I got that taken care of. All right, Italians up first. They got 5 casualties. They got none. These guys are going to fire at those gentlemen, and these guys are going to unload into the artillery. Holy smokes, the Simbrinks get hammered for 4 casualties, plus a discipline check. The artillery gets with 3, plus a discipline check. Wow, some great shooting by the Italians. Russians, no such thing as unacceptable casualties. The Russians tough it out, no worries. Wow. 2nd Queen Zone is going to fire into that attack column there with the 2 extra casualty dice. They did have to move because they have to reform with fire discipline, so they do 5 casualties and a discipline check on those on that attack column. 2nd Battalion of the 27th takes 5 casualties and becomes unformed. That's no bueno. And then we'll get a 1 die volley at these skirmishers from the 28th in the trees. French skirmishers take a casualty. The only thing left in this turn is the hand-to-hand over here with the Polish attacking into the British line unit. They kind of surprised after they... these guys got steamrolled after the Highlanders run through them first. And then here out of nowhere, when they started getting themselves back together again, here comes the Polish right through the smoke and the trees, and the bodies just hit them. The 59th goes hand-to-hand, unformed against an attack column with the lawn of the Polish. The Polish will be hit with 8 dice, and the 59th will only have 4 because they are unformed. They both take 3 casualties. It ends up being a draw. Because the Vistro Legion has a higher quality, they hold the ground. They'll be unformed. The 59th will withdraw, unforming the Field Battalion from Kallenberg, and they'll form back up back here behind everybody. They end up back here behind the Highland Brigade. They have 3 casualties. They're unformed. The Polish end up with 3 casualties unformed right there, holding the ground. And that is the end of turn 7. Sorry, it had a bit of a error there. I'm sure I did something wrong, but I just probably had something turned on when I shouldn't have, when I plugged in the data card. So that's my fault, but at least I didn't lose the entire turn. That's the big thing. Hopefully I did a decent synopsis. I'm sure it was lacking. So there we go. Napoleon has regathered these guys. I think the Allies have at least one faltering brigade. Maybe just one. I can't remember. And then Italians and the Russians beating the hell out of each other as the meat grinder continues over here. Once the 9th breaks through, it's going to be a total mess over here. Oh, if they do. This one Highland Brigade from the 91st standing proud in the woods by themselves. But there are a lot of British back here as the Guard Brigade moves in to secure the road to Antwerp. Still got a lot of stuff going on back here. The Russians are supported by 2 brigades. There's cavalry brigades on the way. The Prussian Austro Brigade under von Steinmetz in trouble. And then, of course, the King's German Legion continues to eat everything in existence, and Hal will have nothing left for anybody. Okay, there we go. It's a great game, man. I love it. See you in a minute. All right, it's turn 8 now at 12:30. Get ready for it. Boom. All right, we're into turn 8. It's 12:30, and we're going to do some core orders. Sorry, having a sip of water there. This is pretty awesome. So the plan is to do turn 8 and turn 9, and then take a little break, and because this is going to be, I think we're going to be over 3 hours here. So hopefully you're hanging in there. I really have a feeling this is going to go for a while. So definitely, it's getting hard to work with in the editor with how big it is. So we'll knock these 2 turns out, and then we'll have part 1, and then whatever's left will be part 2. So I'm hoping this is a good break. I'm hoping it's not like I get turn 9 done and then turn 10 the game's over, so my part 2 is going to be like 15 minutes. So that'll be dumb. We'll figure it out. Here comes Napoleon's core order dice rolls. Napoleon has returned to his central position. He's been on the left flank. He's been on the right flank. He's a wild man. All right, he won't be riding the line this time, but he's got everything else. Wellington still's got some concerns with his right flank, but he feels a lot better than Maitland's over there now, kicking some butt when he gets involved. He's got the whole shitty shebang bang. It's great, baby. Also, turn 8, I forgot, is the one of the cavalry, reserve cavalry brigades will ride for the Allies as well in the center. All right, the Allies do have 2 faltering brigades this turn they've got to work on. They have the Highland Brigade under Pack, and they've also got the Polish, no, sorry, not the Polish, the Prussian and Austrian Brigade, which is just taking a beating. Let's do ADC availability. We'll start over here with the Allies. Both divisional commanders will have 4 ADCs to work with. Wellington has 1 C&C command left until he gets a double 6 on initiative. And he does have his chief of staff left, but I don't know, still feels a bit early. Alright, all 4 divisional commanders have 4 ADCs. Very easy to remember. That makes it great for my brain. Alright, we'll start off placing ADCs for the Allies first. They do have 2 faltering brigades, so but one of them is a bold brigadier, so at least that won't cost a ton. For the Allies, von Steinmetz is going to get a rally and a reroll. We're getting infantry assault and a reroll here on Stuart. A reroll here on Halkett A reroll on Savinovich. A reroll on somebody else in here. Where's he at? Oh, is that Stedman? Yeah, Stedman. And then a rally on Pack. All right, over here for the Polish, will do infantry assault, glory, and a reroll for 3 ADCs. We'll get a infantry assault here. So that'll be fine. Infantry assault and a reroll here. Infantry assault and a reroll. Napoleon will give his extra ADC to these gentlemen and give them glory. Wellington will spend his red ADC die and give it to Stuart, and he will also get glory. All right, we'll start down here with the Earl of Uxbridge and see if what happens with his brigades, if they're active or not, or completely imploding. Oh, they hit a home run over here. Pack is following commands, so his guys rallied, but he's still hesitant. And everybody else is following commands, so that's awesome. All right, strong work on the Earl of Uxbridge. Entering onto the battlefield is 10th Brigade under von Kopp. And he's got 3 cavalry squadrons, including the Scots Greys, the 7th Queen Zone, and the 1st Lithuanian Dragoons. Looking ready to kick some butt. This will be the first battle for the Dragoons. Not so good. Thankfully, the von Steinmetz is able to rally. He's hesitant still. Johnstone also becomes hesitant, as well as Hawker, for 3 hesitant brigades in Picton's division, which is no good. All right, it's time for Ney's troops to see how they do all the way over to the Italians. Unfortunately, Jamin goes hesitant, so the 1st Battalion of the 4th, they were in retreat from falling back. They take 4 CDs of damage. Those gentlemen are up to 11 casualties. They're 1 away from imploding. Not looking good for the Italians over there. Everything else is active, though. Woo! All right, let's go do Soult. Marconnet with the Swiss and the Bavarians goes hesitant. Everything else is good to go. All right. I think Marconnet's guns, he doesn't even have any. So that's good. I thought he had some guns. All right. So the Wellington will be rolling 3 dice for their initiative, and Napoleon will be rolling 2. And you aren't going to see dice roll like that on any other channel. Wellington's going to win the initiative with a 3. That is badass. All right. He's going to charge with Stuart into the Italians, who are going to have to align instead of firing, which is going to be a absolute disaster of moving stuff around. So I'll be back in about an hour. All right, seriously, like an hour later. I'm just kidding. The Prussians went in against the Hanoverians. They brought the whole everything. 9th Leger went in against the Argyll Highlanders. They had to align. The Prussians will actually get to shoot at the Polish. The Italians got attacked by those guys. They chose to align, so they pulled everything to the right because they had supports. Who the heck are these guys? Peugeot attacked the Austrian militia, so he pulled 1 support out of that disaster. The 27th under Bru attacked into the Prussians with the Austrians, and then the British were the first to attack. I already said that, into the Italians. So it's hand-to-hand central. A lot of the skirmishers have gone to the rear. And it's just going to be absolutely savage. But we'll start with the British attacking the Italians in hand-to-hand, because that is numero uno. All right, the Italians have 2 supports. The British have 2 supports. The British have glory, so they're going to be 1 extra higher class. They'll get a reroll for that. So 3 rerolls versus 2. Everybody's rolling 2 dice. We're all tied up at 6. The British are going to reroll their 2. All right, right now the British are winning 9-6. So the French are going to reroll, or sorry, the Italians are going to roll that 2. 9-8. Whoa! I think the Italians are going to stick, and so will the British. The British will attack with a lawn because they're in line. The Italians will be unformed for the hand-to-hand. All right, the Hanoverians will fire a volley at the attacking Polish. Hanoverians do inflict 5 casualties on that Vistula Legion battalion. They'll have to take a discipline check too. They passed yet. The Vistula Legion is at 5 casualties, so they're 1 away from being worn. But they will take I think they take a -1 because they took 3 casualties on the way in for the charge. I just remembered the Hanoverians are unformed, so they only do 2 casualties to the Polish, so they'll be at 4. Oh, it's a game of inches, baby. You gotta hate it when that happens. All right, so now the Polish do not have to roll 3 dice, but the the Hanoverians do because they're unformed. We've also got a bunch of the Polish are grenadier. The Hanoverians are reservists, so they get 2 extra rerolls there. Also, the Polish have 3 supports. The Hanoverians have 2. The Polish literally have 6 rerolls here, and the Hanoverians have to roll 3 dice. The Hanoverians do all right. They get a 9, so that's going to make it tough to beat. The Polish do have a 6 with a 1, so they got 6 chances to beat a 1 here. All right, now we're at an 8 to a 9. The Polish are going to go again. We're down to a 7. They're going to go again. Hanoverians, I'm going to take a look at. They're down by 2. Hanoverians are going to take that and just combat unformed against the Polish with a lawn. That's not a bad outcome. I was expecting a victory for the Polish there, but that 9 really did a number on them. All right, over here we got a fresh Léger battalion going in against a beat-down 91st with 8 casualties that have to align and can't fire. So we are going to see, oh boy, 3 dice for the Scottish, who have no supports, against a pretty insanely supported 9th Léger. 3 units supporting them. They're higher troop class for 4. Yeah, so 4 rerolls. All right, right now it's a 4-on-4. The Highlanders have no rerolls, so it's up to the 9th Léger. They're going to reroll their 1. Okay, it's 6-4. They're going to keep on rerolling. Oh, they slide to a 5. They're going to go for it again, though. 9-4. They win by 5. They take the ground. They blow back the Highlanders. They take 4 CDs of damage. 9th Léger take the ground. The 91st gets pushed way back there. They have 11 casualties. They're 1 away from imploding. That British artillery unit is about to get destroyed by the 9th Léger as they come running through the trees into that position they've been holding the entire battle. Oh, they're going to get payback for them, for the Italians. All right, so that's that done. Can move over into this nightmare here, where the Austrian reservists had to align to fight the 1st Battalion of the 69th. We're coming in with infantry assault. No glory, though. The 91st are sorry, not the 91st, the 69th are one grade above these gentlemen, and the reservists have 6 casualties. So that's not going to help. They're going to be having 3 dice against 2. The reservists have 1 support. The French will have 3 total. An 8 versus a 4. The reservists are going to call up their supports and immediately roll the 1 over. 8 versus 7. French are going to hold and fight with Elan against the unformed Austrian reservists. Alright, now we got Prussian reservists who had to align against the 27th Leger or Lean, whatever. 27th Regiment of Line. Woo! Okay, here we go. 27th does have glory for 1 extra level there. So the Prussians will have 1 support. The French will have, look at 4 with the glory. 6 versus a 7. Prussians are going to re-roll their 3. They stick with 6. They're done. French are going to try to beat the 1. Alright, the encouragement of their commanders not enough. Here come their supports now. Other battalions coming in to support the attack. They got 3 more. Oh, that's not good for the Prussians. That's a victory for the French. So there's going to be some serious butt stomping. Alright, the Prussians will take 6 casualties, 66 casualties. The Austrians will take 46. And they're going to, I think they both retreat, faltering the brigade. As the French advance, they slam into the 2nd Queen Zone. And the French will fight with Elan in the melee. And the Queen Zone will be unformed. So the victory. Also, we get, it wasn't too bad for the, I only hit 1 casualty each. I rolled decent there, but they both retreated. They faltered the brigade, and they're way back here. And that ends the charge phase, which was probably the most gnarly charge phase I've seen. I think that was absolutely insane. All right, so I think we go into movement next. After that was just insane. Napoleon is sounded the general advance, feeling like it's all over. Well, at least it's getting there. The 70th moves forward. Whatever it is, the 9th Brigade forms into attack column. 1st Brigade moves out to try to keep pace with what's going on over here. And 6th Brigade begins to cross the pontoon bridge. Oh, baby. And their skirmishers move into the woods farther. All right, let's go over to the British, see what they could do, or the Allies. Big time log jam over here where nothing can move. Wow. Russians could do something. Oh, I'm going to get that artillery piece out of there. That's got to go. 1 second. Russian infantry moves forward as that artillery rolls back to protect those guns from getting taken by the 9th Leger next turn. Most of this stuff is stock. Cavalry is going to move, but that's in the reserve phase. And these guys are hesitant over here. Not ready to commit the guys in Halle yet. So, boom. And it's just a total mess up there as von Steinmetz has been cut off from everybody and anybody. For tactical moves, the cavalry will move forward into the gap. And the Scots Greys lead the attack as they move out towards the French. There's a big gap for them to explore. They can do all kinds of stupid stuff out there, especially with a forwards command. All right, cavalry's on the field. Napoleon just saw it. He better do something. Oh, gosh. Okay, that's movement. We're getting into skirmish shooting. I'm not sure who's left. There are 3 skirmish bases of the 70th here in the woods. They're going to fire at the unformed 45th with 3 shots in the woods. They put 1 casualty on them. Everyone else seems to be in hand-to-hand or melee, except for these gentlemen over here. They have 4 bases, firing 4 shots at the 28th in the woods. 28th goes up to 3 casualties. That'll end the skirmish phase for the French. I don't think the British have any skirmishers, and the Allies have any skirmishers left. Everything got pushed in during the charge. Yeah, there's nothing left right now to shoot. Okay, that does the skirmish phase. We'll go on to artillery. First big one will be the double French gun action against the 1st Battalion from Tobolsk, who's got 7 casualties already. Those gentlemen go up to 9 casualties now. More artillery. I'm not sure if they can shoot. Let me check. All 4 guns will do long-range shots at the Austrians with bounce through into the Royal Horse Artillery up there, the 9-pounders. Some of these guns, these 2 middle guns, are both going to be just a single die shooters. No bounce through into the guns, but the Austrians take 4 casualties from that barrage. And then the final barrage, those guns over there will fire through the trees an inferior volley, but it's canister against the 28th. 28's up to 6. The only guns that, well, these guys can fire a long-range shot right here. They'll fire at the most damaged gun the French have. They've 1 on 11 casualties. They're going for it. Bam, sucker. I forgot Halkett's usually hesitant. He's going to wail on these boys. He blows away that battery of Imperial Guard artillery, and they falter. Damon falters this for now. Oh boy. There you go, a little payback there for the British guns. Alright, starting off with the melee. Whoa, this is with an Elan here. Alright, we got the 69th versus the Italians. This should be brutal. Let's see how many dice everybody gets. 69th's going to chuck 7 dice. The Italians are throwing 4, looking for 4, 5s, and 6s. Here we go, baby! That's a straight-up butt-kicking as the Italians lose 5, only deflicting 1 casualty on the 69th, who take the ground. That's the 2nd battalion in the regiment, or in the brigade, to retreat, so it falters General Jamin. Now we have 2 faltering brigades for the French. Alright, next up we've got Polish Grenadier with Glory against reservists. Unformed, and Polish have Elan, so this would be a lot of dice versus not so many. What a great fight by the Hanoverians. They tie it up. They still lose. They get pushed back. As they get pushed back, they unform the 1st Foot Guards, but they inflict 4 casualties on the Polish, taking them to 8, unforming them as well, and they're worn. So that was almost worth it. Great job. Now we've got the Austrians, who are unformed with 6 casualties against the French with Elan. That's not good. Austrian militia lose by 1. They're up to 8 casualties. The French have 1. The French win the battle. The Austrians retreat. But brigade's already faltered. Von Steinmetz is out there with his last battalion, the 2nd Battalion, 10th, or the 1st Silesian. Not looking good. He wants some more reinforcements from Blücher. And now we've last hand-to-hand is the 2nd Queen Zone, who are unformed against the French with Elan and Glory. And turn 8 comes to an end with a British victory in that hand-to-hand over there against the French attack columns coming across the bridge. British take 2 casualties and are unformed still. The French took 3. They retreated, unformed the unit behind them. They're up against the river. So, holy cow, what a mess. We've got faltering brigades all over the place. These guys have got to be getting tired. Oh, at least the guard's in line to come up next. And, yeah, Italians, the Russians are all on the edge of just falling apart. And these guys on the left are falling apart, too. We got fresh units getting pumped in by the British. French have not called up any reinforcements yet, but are starting to move their on-table reserves into attack position. I think Napoleon might be doing some cuckoo stuff pretty soon. Okay, that is the end of turn 8. It's now 1 o'clock and it's turn 9. Oh, hang in there, man. I feel like we've hit a pivotal point. It's turn 9. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I said in the morning. Feels like it's the morning. It's the morning here, but it's not that. It's like 7. All right, I got my morning voice. I love it. All right, so let's do corps orders, starting with Napoleon, and then we'll go to Wellington after that. It's getting about totally insane, and I love it. Last night's booze is wearing off, and Napoleon is firing on all cylinders, baby. Gets all 4 of his orders. He's ready to kick some butt. Wellington has 3 of the 4, but he does have a corps adjutant to reroll that 1. Wellington is also firing on all cylinders. Okay, let's go on to how many EDCs are available for each side. Alright, both Soult and Ney have 5 each. That's looking good for the French. Alright, here come the Allies with Uxbridge and Picton. 3 and 4. Oh no, Uxbridge has 3, Picton has 4. Wellington is not happy. Alright, he's gonna have to use Chief of Staff. It's early, but Napoleon's already used his, so we're using it. And Wellington will be out of CNC commands for the rest of the game unless he can start busting out some double 6s during initiative. After playing Chief of Staff and handing out his red die to the Earl of Uxbridge, Uxbridge now has 7 ADCs and Picton has 6. That's plenty to do things. I thought the Allies had 2 faltering brigades, but I guess they just have von Steinmetz as their only 1. So the Allies are planning to shuffle and reorganize their lines over here with a series of forwards commands to try to get the second line up and pull back some of these beaten down units, like the Russians, of course, and the Austro-Prussians that have bared the fight for the last 4 hours. So it's time to get some fresh boys in. Cavalry's going in to shake it up, see what they can do. Hopefully not get minced by artillery. And we're going to continue to hope that these guys hold out over here. If worst case scenario, we can pull reinforcements from Hal and support, especially the 2nd Queen Zone. They're doing the lion's share over here. What a bunch of freaking kick butt going on over there. That's awesome. Alright, let's go over to the French. Napoleon plans on doing the same thing. He's putting Grenier back on the front line, trying to rally the Italians, trying to move Peugeot in to take the place of the Italians. Get these gentlemen going forward. Make sure that artillery doesn't falter. And hopefully prepare for the cavalry attack over here. Okay, let's see what happens with all the good stuff. Oh, Napoleon is going to use his black dice to bring in the Imperial Guard. Have fun with that, baby. Let's see how many turns it is. Imperial Guard will arrive on turn 10. Oh my Lanta. Alright, let's see how the forces of Uxbridge are this turn. Alright, see how the troops under Picton are going to do with this whole thing. We do have von Steinmetz trying to keep it together. Alright, it's either a combination of Wellington being too amped for the turn and having too many ideas, or Picton getting too many hits off his bottle. But this entire division just goes into utter chaos. I don't even know where to start. The boys in Halle are completely out of touch with the battle, so Adam shuts it down. He goes hesitant. Johnstone, who's kind of the key to the entire defense over here, he gets confused. He shuts it down. The man that came in like a beast and was getting ready to win the day, or at least take this flank and crush the French in von Kopp, he just gets confused if he's going left, right, or straight. He shuts it down. He goes hesitant. Von Steinmetz, he goes wavering. It's too much for the Austrian reservists. They were in the rear. They were 2 casualties away from dispersal, so they said, hasta la vista, baby. They're heading back to somewhere else. They're gone. The last 2 Jaeger skirmish bases, they dispersed. They're gone. 2nd Battalion, 10th. They could have stayed up there unformed. They said, no way, Jose. And they ran away. Look at that, I got all that to rhyme. And then these 3 remaining, the 2 Prussian and 1 Austrian line battalions, all take 4 CDs worth of damage. Yeah, you can't do much better than that. The only thing that really worked was Stewart was able to pass commands, and he will assume the frontline duties for the entire division. Wow, what a nightmare. So the 7th Infantry, 1st Battalion of the 7th Infantry Regiment will take a casualty, or take 2. They'll go up to 6. 2nd Battalion of the 34th Austrian will take 2. They'll go up to 6. And these guys didn't have any casualties yet. 2nd Battalion, 10th, they will take 3. I wanted to get von Steinmetz off the front line, but I think I could have done it a bit smoother than that. But it still works. He loses 1 more battalion. He is... I think the brigade disperses, right? Because he's lost 2 so far of his 5. Alright, and they're still faltering after all that. Let's go over to the French, see if they can do better than Picton. Holy cow, what a nightmare. Let's go over to Ney, as I forgot to silence my phone. Work needs to leave me alone, man. Alright, now we're silenced. Yeah. Alright, and let's see if Ney can do better than Picton. Not good. I even broke out. I didn't have enough markers. These are from Battlefield Accessories, which are awesome. You know, my only sad part is you get a ton of these like fire disciplines, which is great. I just don't feel like you get enough of the commands, especially if you're having a larger game. So I already had these pre-printed to try to support, and then I just said I don't have enough. I didn't print enough of the right stuff, so I added in markers that I had for Pickett's Charge. So they're all related. They're all Dave Brown games, so they'll get along. So I got double quicks instead of forwards in some places, and staff officers instead of ADCs. Just use Google Translate. You'll feel great. All right. Everyone gets 2 dice rolls. That's great with good command and control by Ney. All right. Let's see how Soult does. Dumont is faltering over here, so definitely needs something good here. General Brew is hesitant. He might be pulling back anyway. And everyone else is active, and we'll get another hesitant because he is rallied, but he goes to hesitant. So Soult will give his commanding officer a 3rd die for initiative. But both sides will have that, so not too bad. Speaking of that, let's do some initiative, baby. It's a tie. I can't remember who won last turn. Oh my gosh, I should have done an initiative marker. That's what I do like about what's it call it? Pickett's charge. You do leave the initiative counter with them. All right, I gotta do some research. I'll be right back. I must have blocked it from my memory because it was so horrible. Last turn was the turn where Napoleon rolled double ones and Wellington rolled a 1 and a 2 and won initiative. I should have remembered that. It should be burned into my mind forever. All right, so Wellington will have the initiative on the draw, and Wellington has no charges because everything he was going to charge with is hesitant. Good job, Picton. Not picking on you at all. Napoleon is going to counter Wellington's non-charge phase with no charges himself. All right, so looks like it's going to be a logistics turn. Let's get organized, get ready for the next phase of this battle. Okay, here we go. Movement phase. No reserves coming in this turn, so it's going to be all on-table movement, starting with the French. All right, hang on. I got to get my pointer. This is going to be insane. Hang on one second. All right, this is going to be a little bit nuts. We'll try to get you some satellite views overhead. Polish kind of pulled back and reorganized. Yeah, they more just changed formation to line and formed a heavy column. The 70th moved forward in attack column to head towards the British lines. The French have done a good job of not really, reorganizing but not giving up much real estate. The 9th Léger has shaken out into line and reformed up. Artillery came brought up. They won't be able to shoot this turn. The Italians did a fall to the rear and are now marked with retreat. They're formed up back here in attack column. The Swiss and the Bavarians are moving forward to take their place in the front. To cover the hole that was vacated by the Italians, General Peugeot and 3rd Brigade continue their push forward, put their skirmishers out front. The 1st Brigade's artillery piece has joined the other guns on top of the hill. General Clouseau's 1st Brigade, that's been in reserve the entire game, is moving forward with his 4 battalions. General Bru in 5th Brigade is formed square because of the approaching cavalry. And General Mazarin in 6th Brigade continues to cross the bridge and push into the trees in front of Halle, possibly opening a second front over here on the French right flank as they push for Halle. And that is one of the objectives anyway. So if you get Halle, you get the road to Brussels. If you get Brussels, you basically get the entire kingdom of Netherlands, the Dutch and everything, just they come to your side. These guys are hesitant. They're hesitant. They didn't move. Cavalry didn't move. They're sitting there with a hit me sign on them. This is where it starts getting stupid. You saw these guys fell back and they're blocking artillery now. They're still faltering. Von Steinmetz trying to get it together. He's going to need a Red Bull to get fired up. General Stewart spread out, trying to absorb the gap vacated by the Austro-Prussians. Lost a lot of the real estate. They were up in here. So the French have reclaimed a lot of the center, kind of pushing in here. He's kind of curved his line. The Russians have fallen back. They're all marked with whipped. They've retreated, done a move to the rear to reform. They've gotten into a column. They still have 2 or 3 battalions that are in really good shape, like the Moscow Grenadiers and a few others are still in decent shape. General Halkett is moving forward. He has not been involved in the fight. He's coming up to support General Stewart. General Mitchell's not been in the fight. He's now moved up and taken this hole here that vacated by the Russians. He had a forwards command. His artillery has moved back to the ridge. The Russian artillery has moved back to the ridge. The Highland Brigade has basically moved to the rear, marked with retreat, and they're just going to reform up back here. They might have like maybe they have 2 battalions that are combat effective, but they have 2 that are completely destroyed. The who is this guy? Oh, this is Stedman. Sorry about that. All you Stedman fans out there, I know you guys got t-shirts. 11th Brigade has moved behind the guard. They've marked with retreat as they've passed through the lines. And then the guard has moved forward, deployed their 95th rifles to face the French in the woods. But the Brits have basically had to give up the woods. So the French have actually moved forward into the woods. In the center, the French are basically advancing on. Oh, sorry about that. I cracked my little handle here. The French are moving forward nicely across everything here. Even crossing the river with a little amphib attack. If they can push through into Halle, the King's German Legion might have to wake up, do some fighting, but they're saving themselves. They're definitely getting their electrolytes. Okay, so that's the movement phase of insanity. A lot of guns might not be able to shoot because a lot of them are getting repositioned. But there will be some cannons, a lot of skirmish fire. I got to get my cotton balls out, as a lot of the forces have moved their skirmishers out front during the cover of the reorganization of the army. Okay, yeah, we are ready for the. I know this is the last turn in part 1, so we are setting ourselves up for a massive part 2. All right, musketry and cannonade kicking off across the battlefield once again after a brief pause to get organized. Hostilities have resumed, mostly in the form of skirmish fire. All right, British will be shooting first. The squares are kicking off too. It's the first time I fired squares in a while in General Desarmées. So yeah, we got 4 of those. Be peeking at those rules myself. British will have 1 cannon battery or 1 artillery battery firing. The French had 2 that didn't move. They'll be able to fire. Mostly everything else was relocating. Okay, boom. Let's get on to the British skirmish shooting. This might be nuts. I probably should have put a skirmish tasking on these guys, but I had so many other dice going everywhere. The Guard. They got their 95th rifles. They got 5 bases. They're going up to 6. And they're going up to 7 because they're rifles. But the French are in the trees. So 7 shots into the French. They're going to shoot the guys straight ahead. They score 2 hits on that French skirmish line. They already had 1 casualty. They blow away a base, and we'll move on down the line. Next up, 4th Brigade, Mitchell. He's got 4 bases of 95th rifles, firing into the French of the 9th Léger, who have 1 casualty already. 9th Léger are in the trees again, so we'll give them 1 less. In the words of Rich from Two Fat Lardies, nothing for a half. Sorry, gentlemen. That half hit does nothing to the 9th Léger skirmish line. We'll scoot on down the line to General Stewart. He's got his 5 bases. There's no cover here. This is just going to be a straight up shoot 'em in the street kind of stuff. 7 shots into the French. I'm going to have to give General Stewart Doug Carmichael's business card. His skirmishers need to get some range time. Pathetic. Oh. So they do nothing. Got to work on that, baby. That's terrible. All right, that might be it for the British skirmishers, to tell you the truth. Looks like there's a million of them, but there's really just 3 bases up front, or 3 lines. They're just spread out like a boss. All right, firing at the British Guard skirmish line. The Polish, 4 bases. They're going to get 1 extra 1 just because they're skirmish line, and no cover for the trees because the British have been pushed out. All right, 1 casualty on the Guard. Now, the French attack column has 3 bases out front, so they'll get 4 shots into that same skirmish line for the Guard. Ninth Léger have 5 bases. They're just a light infantry badass brigade, so they'll go up to 7 shots against the British line of General Halkett, or is this General Mitchell. Just one casualty on them. Now we've got, which general is this? Oh, General Peugeot from 3rd Brigade. He's got 5 bases of voltigeurs against the British Rifles, doing 6 shots. They do 1 casualty to that skirmish base. Then over here in the woods, we got Mazarini's, I think, or oh yeah, his is it Mazarini? His 4 skirmishers firing in the trees against the 28th. No impact at all. Okay, so 28th is loving those trees. They're keeping them alive. All right, for artillery, the British have, oh yeah, they were faltering too, weren't they? No, they weren't. They're good. They have actually 2 guns can fire. Hawker's brigade can fire long range at that new gun emplacement, and also 1st Brigade's artillery. They're going to combo fire at that gun in the center over there that just arrived, like trying to distract them while they're setting up shop. Unfortunately, these 9-pounders are just going to throw 1 dice because it's long-range shot and they're worn. They are able to put 1 more casualty onto the 1st Brigade's 8-pounders. They're up to 2 now. Now the 3rd Brigade's 8-pounders and the 12-pounders of the Imperial Guard that are left. But our Warn are going to fire across at those gentlemen over there. They're actually going to blast away at the 9-pounder over here. They probably should have stuck with their original target, as the 12-pounders give themselves a fatigue casualty and the 8-pounders basically land 1 in Kansas City. For volley fire, all we got is the kick butt Queen Zone firing into a square. Queen Zone, oh, they would have reformed in the movement phase, so they're going to sit right there. I don't want to put a whammy on these guys, but right now they're going for some kind of unit citation. They've been the heart and soul of the British left. Squares fire like 1 CD. I think it's 1 CD per side. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know Scott will let me know in a minute. I think he's sleeping right now, so I can't consult my boy in Australia. So this square, this square, this square, and this square will all fire 1 CD at the 2nd Queen Zone. And this square will fire from the 2nd side, over this square here, over here at these gentlemen. The 2nd Queen Zone takes the 3rd casualty, and now we'll shoot 1 casualty dice at the 9th from Norfolk, and from that square there. And those gentlemen go up to 4 casualties. And that's the end of the... oh no, sorry, I forgot to fire the 28th at the skirmishers, which is just going to be 1 CD, but they'll get 1 for being drilled. Those guys must have signed some kind of armistice. They're not hitting each other for anything, which is fine. They love each other. Alright, why can't we all get along? Okay, that's the end of the shooting phase. Alright, I already showed a bunch in the movement phase, but that will be the end of turn 9 as we head into the turn 10 area at 1:30 p.m. It's just getting awesome, even more awesome. I don't even know what to say. It's we're kind of, you know, you can kind of feel it. At least I can. We've reached the 2nd phase of this battle, so it's a perfect time. I couldn't have planned it really any better, accidentally, which I did, to get to the next phase of this awesome battle. Hope you're enjoying it so far. I'm kind of a little bit speechless, so I apologize, but it's amazing. I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just bragging on the fact that I love Napoleonics, and I'm loving this system that David Brown made. And just to make things a little bit more cool, arriving on turn 10, the Imperial Guard, 5 battalions of Imperial Guard infantry with their skirmishers under the command of General Friant. Napoleon has moved over to welcome his guard, and looking for a place to put them in to bash the heck out of Wellington. All right, so that's what you got to look forward to. They'll be in they'll move in the reserve function or movement phase of turn 10, but they're on the board. Had to show them, and yeah, but it's still anybody's fight. Just a couple crazy dice rolls and it's over. The British have everything except for Napoleon's keeping the household cavalry. Wellington's keeping the household cavalry off board for a key cavalry charge. He is out of C&C commands, but we will see the Life Guards, the Royal Horse Guards, and the I think it's the 1st Dragoons are off table under General Ponsonby, and the French have both of their cavalry brigades still off table, and he has two C&C commands left. So he's got the bull by the horns. All right, so hang in there. I'll get second part of this out to you as soon as I can. I hope this was enjoyable. I apologize if you don't like long battle reports. This sucker is over 3 hours easily, and the next one I don't know how long it'll be. So we'll get into it, and please go over to Check Your Leader TV and watch Scott. He'll probably be releasing his he's already got part 1 and part 2 of the Battle of Nivelles down the road done, and another messenger has arrived, I'm sure, from Davout, with some concerns that Davout is being pressed from all sides now by the Prussians and the Prince of Orange down the road. Napoleon will be drafting a message to send back to the Iron Marshal. But we'll see all that in both of these battle reports. You guys are awesome. Have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you're all doing fantastically well. You guys are great. Thanks for being a part of such an awesome community and such an awesome hobby. See you soon.